Chapter 161 Image Spokesperson. Chapter 161, Image Spokesperson. When they returned to the VIP room, He Xiaoyu and the others looked at them as if looking at a bunch of monsters, especially Sha Xiaochen and Luo Xiaobai. It could be said that Sha Xiaochen solved the captain of the other team, Luo Xiaobai controlled all the people who could be controlled, and Han Fei and the other two were just attacking. He Xiaoyu suddenly asked, "Are we going to eat hot pot?" Le Renquang's eyes lit up. Yes, girl, you get me. Zhang Xuanyu slapped Le Renquang away. Girl, how about going to our school to eat hot pot? There are mountains, rivers, and woods over there. Eating hot pot there will be a pleasure. He Xiaoyu took a step back. Well, forget it, Han Fei said crossly, that's enough. The fish dragons have already begun to purchase stores in the floating island. Now the hot pot restaurants are being renovated. Let's go there to eat. At this time, Bao Jin came to tell them, kids, you may have to wait for 3 days for the next game. Luo Xiaobai frowned. Why so long? Bao Jin said, wiping his sweat, after all, it is not easy to find proper teams for you. In these 3 days, we'll try to find the best teams for you. Le Renquang murmured, any team will do. We just want to finish the task as soon as possible so that we can get the second brocade sachet quickly. He Xiaoyu shot Le Renquang a cold glare. Shut up. Le Renquang knew that he shouldn't say that and shut up quickly. But the other had heard him. Both Bao Jin and Wang Baiyu were wondering what the second brocade sachet meant. Bao Jin thought that they wanted a 100-game winning streak just to complete a task. Once the task was over, they wouldn't come again. And Wang Baiyu thought that Han Fei was doing what the first brocade sachet asked them to do. But this task was already so hard. What about the second one? Would there be a third one? Did the fourth academy have any secrets? Outside the Blue Sea Arena, Han Fei and the others were surrounded as soon as they came out. Thug legend. Thug legend. The crowd was utterly excited. Many people raised their hands and cheered and some swarmed around them. Of course, they didn't come for Han Fei and Le Renquang. Sha Xiaochen, I like you. Luo Xiaobai, I like you. Brother Yu, I like you so much. Brother Yu, want a girlfriend? I can stay with you. Brother Yu, I'd like to go to sea with you. Han Fei and Le Renquang were dumbfounded beside them. What's wrong with these people? Are they only fans of the three? Sha Xiaochen and Luo Xiaobai didn't have as many fans as Zhang Xuanyu, especially Luo Xiaobai who looked so cold. But Zhang Xuanyu was different. There were so many girls shouting, Brother Yu, fanatically, which was a bit hilarious. Zhang Xuanyu seemed to be enjoying it, beckoning to the girls with a smile. Han Fei, would you like to be my boyfriend? Han Fei looked and his face turned green. It was a girl who was even chubbier than an iron-head fish. Han Fei immediately pushed Le Renquang forward and shouted, I'm already in love. He isn't. He is looking for a girlfriend. Le Renquang was panicked. Although he was a fatty, it didn't mean that he liked fat girls. Sha Xiaochen's face turned green too. I'm also in a relationship. I'm seeing Han Fei. Get lost. Han Fei. Sha Xiaochen glanced at Zhang Xuanyu who was beaming with smiles and the terrified Le Renquang and explained to Han Fei in a low voice, I can't say I'm in love with Xiaobai, right? Gosh. Shang Nan almost fell to the ground. Sha Xiaochen, how could such a beautiful girl fall in love with Han Fei? Did she like fat people? Jia Tong murmured in disappointment, oh, I'm lovelorn. I seem to see a spirit swallowing fish dating an iron-head fish. Oh, my eyes. Wang Baiyu. He Xiaoyu widened her eyes and pouted, stunned. Han Fei was stunned too. Didn't you only want to make me a deal? When did I agree to be your boyfriend? Many people began to howl and curse Han Fei. Fatty, are you worthy of such a pretty girl? I'm gonna kill you. I challenge you to a duel. Only Zhang Xuanyu was still smiling cheerfully. He even walked into the crowd, and many girls threw themselves at him. And he didn't reject it at all. Zhang Xuanyu looked satisfied. Haha, please don't be excited. We're going to a fish dragon hot pot restaurant to eat hot pot. Does anyone go with me? Me, let's go together. Brother Yu, I want to sit at the same table as you. Brother Yu, I can pick the dish for you. Brother you, I can pay the bill for you. Everyone. In the Fish Dragon Hot Pot restaurant. Li Gang was directing the workers to renovate the store. Hurry up, hang up the sign. We will start business tomorrow. Have you replenished the stock? Come on, put the fishes into water. Are the seasonings ready? From tomorrow on, we'll offer a 50% discount. We must have many customers. You guys go check the other shops. Have they been ready? All the 10 shops will be open at half price tomorrow. Suddenly, someone said, Brother Gang, you see. Li Gang shot up. See what? Just do your job. No, Brother Gang, it seems that someone has come to make trouble. Huh, Li Gang looked back and his face turned green. How many people are there? Thousands. Li Gang burst into a cold sweat. Come on, everybody run. No, it's too late. Remember to cover your heads when you are beaten by them. I'll turn to young master for help. But then, Li Gang saw Zhang Xuanyu. The guy was surrounded and pushed in by a group of little girl fans. Li Gang swallowed. Wait, it doesn't seem right. Zhang Xuanyu waved at Li Gang. Uncle Gang, prepare the hot pot. The customers are here. Li Gang, the members of the Fish Dragons. They were stunned. Our stores haven't opened yet. Are they already so famous? Li Gang shivered and shouted at the staff members, move, move. Open the doors to welcome the guests. Let's open in advance. Han Fei jumped from behind the crowd. Reserve the private room for me, my private room. Seeing Han Fei behind the crowd, Li Gang rushed upstairs immediately. After a moment, Li Gang failed to get Han Fei a private room. All the private rooms were occupied. He tried his best and could only get him a table in the hall. Li Gang almost cried. Young master, I'm so sorry. I've failed to keep your room exclusive. Han Fei patted him on the shoulder. I know you have done your best. By the way, give each guest today 2 sets of Fish Dragon cards for free. Li Gang's eyes slid up. Yes, young master. Sha Shaochen was curious. What are those? Han Fei smiled mysteriously. You will find out soon. The seats were all occupied. Some people who failed to get a seat left in disappointment and some were still waiting for seats. Han Fei stood up and said, Please be quiet, everyone, listen to me. Someone muttered, Who wants to listen to you? Are you a beautiful girl? 2 sets of Fish Dragon cards appeared in Han Fei's hands and he said, The boss of the Fish Dragon Hot Pot restaurants is us, the Thug Legend. To thank you for your support, we offer all customers a 50% discount today. Wow, your shops. Isn't your 4th academy down and out? Are you trying to trick us into eating here? Han Fei shouted, Calm down. Be quiet. Please listen to me. Today, you are not only offered a 50% discount, but we've also prepared a small gift for you. Gang, distribute the Fish Dragon cards. Dozens of members of the Fish Dragons served the Fish Dragon cards table by table. What are these? Isn't this the scale of green turtle? Huh, interesting. The scales have blade fish and tentacle lobster patterns, which are quite realistic. This carving technique is good. Han Fei, what are these used for? Yeah, what is this? Why are there numbers on the scales? Han Fei smiled. No hurry, let me show you, gang. As Han Fei explained the rules, Li Gang and 3 others put a small table in the hall and they began to play Fish Dragon card. Soon, people learned how to play it. Someone muttered, Interesting. It seems fun. Someone shouted, Does anyone want to play cards with me? Let's make up a team of 4. Count me in. Chapter 162 Old Friends. Chapter 162, Old Friends. The crowd immediately got addicted to playing with the cards. Soon, everyone was playing it in the hot pot restaurant. 3 and 2, 3 small white fish and 2 small white shrimp. 3 large yellow croakers and 2 small white shrimp. Crush you to death, 3 blade fish and 2 green turtles. A bomb, 4 tentacles lobsters. Hurry up, my tummy is making a noise. Han Fei was very satisfied with his commercial promotion. When he returned to his table, the others were already playing cards. Han Fei took a glance. Sha Shaochen had lousy cards, the best one being a snake belt. Han Fei wondered, where is Zhang Xuanyu? Sha Shaochen pouted her lips as a signal. Above. Han Fei looked up. only to find that this bastard was sitting with a crowd of little girls on a table. Now he was surrounded by girls and some of them even tried to sit on his lap. Han Fei shivered. Shameless. How can a person be so shameless? Suddenly, Sha Xiaochen said angrily to Han Fei, Han Fei, you are too much. Why didn't you introduce this to us earlier? Humph. Han Fei. Le Renquang echoed her, indeed. You should have shared these with us earlier. Han Fei said plainly, all play and no work is unproductive. We need focus. He Xiaoyu drew nearer. Han Fei, how did you train in the 4th Academy? Very hard, right, so your strength could improve so fast. As she spoke, she glanced at Sha Xiaochen. Sha Xiaochen played the card and said, we don't have regular training. We just practice, and then we became great fishing masters. Zhang Xuanyu is too lazy to practice, so he is only a peak-level fishing master. He Xiaoyu. Le Renquang smiled awkwardly. Sha Xiaochen means to practice hard and slash as many people as possible. As long as you slash enough people, you will surely become a great fishing master. Sha Xiaochen gnashed her teeth. Quang Quang. He Xiaoyu. Han Fei scoffed. Don't believe their bullshit. They practiced very hard. He Xiaoyu heaved a sigh of relief. That's right. Who can easily become a great fishing master? He Xiaoyu whispered to Han Fei, I'm already an intermediate fishing master. Han Fei was surprised. Then you are making rapid progress. He Xiaoyu complained, who knows, you became a great fishing master so quickly. Wang Baiyu suddenly asked, will the Thug Academy enroll students this year? If you really accomplish a 100-game winning streak, there will be a lot of people desperate to enter your school. After Han Fei went to the 4th Academy, Wang Baiyu went to check the history of the 4th Academy. Then he was taken aback. If he could, he also wanted to be a student there. Sha Xiaochen paused and looked at Luo Xiaobai. It seems not so easy to enter. Wang Baiyu raised his eyebrows. Why do you say that? Sha Xiaochen pointed at Han Fei. You can ask Han Fei. How did he get admitted? The others all looked at Han Fei, and the latter scratched his belly and said, I was required to hold up for 3 minutes under the attacks of the 4 of them. Wow, Sha Wushuang, Shang Nan, and Jia Tong couldn't help but tremble. Seriously, for 3 minutes. Wang Baiyu and He Xiaoyu were stunned. What, are you talking about Sha Xiaochen and the other 3? Are you kidding me? Of the 10 teams today, how many had held up for 3 minutes? And they were complete teams. Gulp. Sha Wushuang asked, Han Fei, how long did you last? Han Fei paused. Not long. I barely passed it. You know, I have a sturdy body. Le Renquang interjected. Liar, you held up for nearly 15 minutes until you were stopped by the teacher in the end. Han Fei shot back, at that time, you didn't use your full strength. Gosh, Sha Wushuang was pouting. He hurt my confidence. Can I change the table? I want to learn how to pick up girls with Zhang Xuanyu. Jia Tong shook his head. First of all, you have to look as handsome as him. Shang Nan. Sha Xiaochen secretly glanced at Han Fei without a word. But she knew that if a person jumped from one circle to another, it was difficult for him to go back. At this time, someone over there exclaimed, wow, what kind of food is this? How can it have such a magical taste? Oh, I haven't eaten yet, and I'm already drooling smelling the fragrance. Someone shouted at Han Fei, Han Fei, what is this? Han Fei responded loudly, hot pot. Making the fish dragon's hot pot is a unique culinary skill of the fish dragons. Shit, it's damn delicious. Someone tasted it and almost bit his tongue off. Le Renquang swallowed hard. Haha, we eat it every day. These people came to see their idols. To their disappointment, Sha Xiaochen claimed to be in love with Han Fei and Luo Xiaobai didn't even look at them. And the bastard Zhang Xuanyu turned out to be such a playboy. Fortunately, they didn't come in vain. This hot pot was really delicious. It could be said that it was the most delicious dish they had ever eaten in their lives, and it made up for their lovelorn sorrows. Having dined and wined to satiety, Han Fei said goodbye to He Xiaoyu and the others. He Xiaoyu asked, Han Fei, can I go to the 4th Academy to visit you? Before Han Fei responded, Luo Xiaobai said, no. He Xiaoyu frowned. Why? Luo Xiaobai said indifferently, if you can be admitted, you're welcome. But if you come to play, it will affect our cultivation. Besides, the Thug Academy is not a place that anyone can enter. Han Fei doesn't have the say. Han Fei scratched his belly, embarrassed. He Xiao Yu, I'll go find you later. Our school is really a special place. He Xiao Yu pouted. Okay. Watching Han Fei leave, He Xiao Yu stomped hard. Humph. Yes, she is strong. But why did she look down upon others? Wang Baiyu said calmly, she didn't look down on anyone. This Luo Xiaobai is a very sensible person. There must be reasons for her refusing you. Maybe it's because of their way of cultivation or some other reasons. Shang Nan said with a sigh, Xiao Yu, in fact, I suddenly felt that the gap between us and Han Fei grew bigger. Of the 5 people, the weakest one was Zhang Xuanyu, right? But, he could still beat a great fishing master although he is only a peak-level fishing master. As for the others, Sha Xiaochen solved his opponents almost in an instant. That fatty, Wang Baiyu, you are an armorist. What do you think of him? Wang Baiyu sighed, I'm no match for him. I don't think any junior great fishing master can resist his torrents of knives and swords. Sha Wushuang also shook his head. Yes, needless to say, Luo Xiaobai is very strong. Not everyone can be the captain. There must be a reason for her to be the captain. Chen Qing reminded them, don't forget, how did Han Fei survive the claw of the purple-tailed scorpion king and kill it? Everyone was silent. He Xiao Yu anxiously said, but, even if they are all geniuses, so what? Is it necessary for Han Fei to alienate his old friends? Wang Baiyu smiled. Han Fei did not alienate you, but his current circle, we can't jump in for the time being. If I've guessed correctly, the 5 of them are conducting an extremely important test or trial. 100-game winning streak in the arena is only their first goal. I don't know what they are doing, but this test must be very difficult. So, they need to cultivate. And if they need to cultivate, they can't waste much time on other things. Do you understand? He Xiao Yu's eyes dimmed. I'm going back to school. On this side, Luo Xiaobai said indifferently, not one of them can be admitted to our school. Han Fei said unhappily, don't treat everyone as a monster, okay? He Heiyu also has an exotic spiritual beast, a cardinal. Sha Xiaochen tilted her head. Han Fei, did you teach her something? Huh, Sha Xiaochen said slyly, I can see that her posture, strength of limbs, and points of balance when she is walking are a bit weird, kind of like your incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing. Han Fei was surprised. You even noticed that? Sha Xiaochen chuckled. It seems that this little girl is special to you. Han Fei scratched his belly. When I was in the village, He Xiao Yu was one of the 2 who treated me nicely in the school. Zhang Xuanyu hugged Han Fei's neck. So, just like me, you are also a friend of loneliness. Han Fei turned black. FCK off. I am not like you. Luo Xiaobai still said indifferently, even so, she is not qualified. I admit that the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing is very powerful, but it's relative, especially after we learned our trump card combat skills. Han Fei frowned. Don't judge a person merely on strength. Han Fei was a little unhappy but he also sighed in his heart. Since he met Luo Xiaobai and the others, he knew that this world had a lot of geniuses. Would he still be like an ordinary person in the future? Chapter 163 Struck by Lightning. Chapter 163, Struck by Lightning. On the way back to school, the atmosphere was a little weird. There seemed to be some contradictions between Luo Xiaobai and Han Fei. Boom. Suddenly, thunder rumbled in the sky and people all rushed home, shouting, go home. It's about to rain. Le Renquang hurriedly said, oh, hurry back to school. Don't get wet with the new clothes we just bought. Zhang Xuanyu sneered, are you stupid? Han Fei is here. He is a spirit gatherer and has learned water control technique. With him here, the rain will not fall on you. However, Han Fei shouted, it's thundering and going to rain. Go home to bring the laundry in. Everyone. As soon as they ran to the plantation, heavy rain fell down. When returning to school, Han Fei suddenly said, I'm going to the mountains to practice water control technique. This weather is very suitable for me to practice. Don't you disturb me. Le Renquang waved. Go, go, I'll stay in the treehouse. Zhang Xuanyu said, I'm going to make the breakthrough to be a great fishing master. Don't disturb me. Sha Shaochen was surprised. Are you going to make the breakthrough? Zhang Xuanyu chuckled. Yes, I've been preparing for it. Now I'm ready. Luo Xiaobai nodded blandly. Well, I'm going to the library to see if there are any combat skills for manipulators. Sha Shaochen looked left and right. Okay, then I'm going to the treehouse too. The crowd dispersed, and Han Fei went directly to the mountain. Instead of going to the cave halfway up the mountain, he rushed straight to the peak of the mountain and climbed to a height of more than 2,000 meters where clouds and fog gathered. Then he found a big rock and sat down on it. For so long, he had been waiting for thunderstorm weather in order to cover up his breakthrough of void fishing. Han Fei took out the ultra-quality spiritual stone. Deduce. The ultra-quality spiritual stone held in Han Fei's hand suddenly burst into a large amount of spiritual energy, which poured into Han Fei's body frantically. Huh, why did the little calabash just flash? Han Fei was slightly stunned. The demon purification pot had remained still for a long time, but it flashed just now. After about 3 minutes, thunder rumbled in the sky, and the rain was getting heavier. Within several minutes, it turned into a downpour and was getting even heavier. After about 10 minutes, lightning flashed across the sky, and the vast sky was rendered a bit scary by lightning. After 30 minutes, the void fishing had been deduced halfway. Crack, a bolt lightning went straight down. Before Han Fei realized what happened, he was struck by the lightning. Phew, Han Fei spurted a mouthful of blood out. His whole body went numb and his hair all stood on end. Shit, why did the lightning strike me? Boom. Another lightning bolt hit him. Han Fei was stunned and smoke was coming from his mouth. Damn, I'm just cultivating. Why is this happening to me? Han Fei felt his body ache all over, especially his internal organs. He was horrified. Why would this lightning come for me? Come on. God, I didn't do anything bad. Why did you do this to me? At the moment, the demon purification pot flashed with a blue light and almost fused with the arc on its surface. In Han Fei's body, waves of spiritual energy were surging. After the third lightning struck him, Han Fei felt scorched. If it weren't for his special physique, he would have died by now. Not good. The lightning wants to kill me, but I can't move now. What should I do? What should I do? Quote. With a thought from Han Fei, dozens of low-quality spiritual stones appeared in his hands. Indestructible body. Han Fei could see arcs flashing on his body and making a crackling sound. Now he could do nothing but practice the indestructible body, which needed to constantly temper the body. Han Fei endured the skinning-like agony and concentrated on practicing the indestructible body. His flesh, blood and viscera contained a lot of energy at the moment. Phew, Han Fei vomited blood one mouthful after another. This was the result of the forced use of the indestructible body to temper his viscera. Han Fei skipped the step of flesh and blood tempering and went straight to temper his inner organs. He felt that if the lightning continued to strike him, his inner organs would be shattered. Boom. Sha Shaochen and Le Renquang sat in their respective treehouses, opened the windows, and looked at each other. Le Renquang exclaimed, "This rain is a bit too heavy. And the lightning is so fierce. They seem to have all fallen behind the mountain." Sha Shaochen supported her chin with a hand. "It's normal. It's not like we haven't seen this kind of weather before. But the lightning looks gorgeous." Le Renquang clicked his tongue. I don't know why the two of them went to cultivate in such weather. What if they got struck by lightning? Imagining that scene, Le Renquang shivered. The lightning fell behind the mountain, not at the foot of the mountain. But I think in such rainy weather, we should stay in the cave to eat barbecue. Le Renquang nodded. Sha Shaochen, I find that you're such a glutton. How many times did you steal Mr. Xiao Zan's bull conches? Get lost. The two were chattering through the window of the treehouses. Little did they know that Han Fei was almost killed by the lightning. His internal organs were damaged, his muscles were filled with the power of thunder, and his bones were cracked. Now he could only lay flat on his back. Han Fei could only watch lightning come down on him one after another. God, you are too much. Damn, isn't this enough? Holy shit, I'm dying. Is anyone here? Help me. 1 hour later, the void fishing was finally successfully deduced. A string of data appeared. Less than existing art greater than void fishing, spirit level, divine quality. Less than third level greater than water vein technique. Less than remarks greater than the first generic art in the ancient times, co-authored by the 9 king level masters. On the day when the book was finished, the heavens and earth whined, and the seas were billowy. It's the origin of all cultivation techniques. Han Fei took a long breath. Finally, it was deduced. He used to deduce the art in a cave, so the lightning couldn't hit him. This time, he didn't stay in a cave, which was a big mistake. Boom! Another lightning bolt came down and Han Fei's chest was bleeding. Han Fei was stunned. The deduction has been finished. Why is the lightning still striking me? Under the mountain, in the treehouses, Le Renquang and Sha Shaochen saw Zhang Xuanyu dashing back. Le Renquang wondered, aren't you making the breakthrough? Are you finished? Zhang Xuanyu wiped the rain off his face. Yes, I plan to consolidate my base. But lightning keep coming down and my eyelids kept twitching, so I'm not in the mood to continue to cultivate. Sha Shaochen yawned in boredom. You deserve it. Zhang Xuanyu laughed. It's not me but Han Fei who deserves it. I saw him climb up to the mountain. Is he out of his mind to cultivate on the top of the mountain in such weather? Sha Shaochen was surprised. He climbed up to the mountain. Zhang Xuanyu was puzzled. Yeah, I went into the mountain with him. I climbed only a few hundred meters, but when I saw him the last time, he had climbed up thousands of kilometers. Sha Shaochen frowned. I'll check it out. Why do you guys cultivate in such weather? Let's play cards. Le Renquang agreed. Good idea. I like it. It will be even better if we eat barbecue at the same time. Zhang Xuanyu nodded. Yes, it's great to eat barbecue while playing cards. Sha Shaochen swooshed out. They were not afraid of rain, but rainy weather was not suitable for cultivation. On the mountain, it had been 15 minutes since the third level of void fishing was deduced and Han Fei was struck by lightning a dozen times more. Phew, Han Fei felt that he was going to vomit all his blood out. His inner organs were damaged and repaired over and over again. The ultra-quality spiritual stone was already shattered. In addition to that, he had used nearly 40 pieces of low-quality spiritual stone. However, they weren't wasted. Han Fei felt his strength seemed to be growing at an incredible speed. He didn't know whether it was because of void fishing or indestructible body. Anyway, his body was bursting with energy now. To his amazement, the energy in his body was being spilt bit by bit and blending into his muscles and bones. Han Fei tried to move his finger and succeeded. Was it because he wasn't struck by lightning in the last few deductions of the void fishing that he was struck so many times today? After another 15 minutes, Han Fei used another 10 low-quality spiritual stones. However, he was struck by lightning nearly half as much as before. This was good news. Han Fei. When Sha Shaochen came over, she was shocked. Han Fei was literally a piece of human-shaped coal. She hurried up and tried to drag Han Fei away. Watch out. Chapter 164 Sha Shaochen went crazy again. Chapter 164. Sha Shaochen went crazy again. Han Fei widened his eyes. Damn, why did Sha Shaochen come? Didn't I tell her not to disturb me? At that moment, Han Fei gathered all his strength and suddenly got Sha Shaochen under his body. Boom! A bolt of lightning struck and Han Fei, who was hit by it, vomited a mouthful of blood on Sha Shaochen's face. Sha Shaochen was stunned. Although most of the power of the lightning was blocked by Han Fei, Sha Shaochen's entire body was also numb and blood oozed out of the corners of her mouth. Sha Shaochen was surprised, and she felt that when the power of lightning entered her body seemed to be strengthened a bit. After several minutes, Sha Shaochen finally could move her body and she immediately said, "Let's go. Hurry up." However, Han Fei didn't move. At this moment, he looked just like a piece of coal and his clothes, stained with his blood and the dirt out of his body, had condensed into a shell. Han Fei said with difficulty, "We can't escape." Sha Shaochen tried to get up. "Why can't we escape?" Boom! Another lightning struck down. With a cough, Han Fei spurted blood again. Sha Shaochen's body went numb again. Han Fei stared at her. "I said we couldn't escape. Why didn't you listen to me and ran up here? They stared at each other. Every minute or so, there was a bolt of lightning. Anyway, every time Sha Xiaochen was about to move, the lightning came down. Sha Xiaochen asked, "Did you do anything evil? Why does the lightning keep striking you?" "No idea, I just sat here and hadn't started to cultivate yet when it kept hitting me." Sha Xiaochen said calmly. "Don't move." Han Fei was helpless. "I didn't move." Sha Xiaochen blushed. Han Fei was almost naked and only covered with a black shell. And her clothes were also torn by the lightning and large pieces of her skin were exposed. "Don't look at me." Boom. Phew. After 1 minute, Han Fei widened his eyes, looking at Sha Xiaochen's almost naked body. "Don't glare at me. I didn't mean it. We're still kids anyway." Ah. Under the mountain, Le Renkuan and Zhang Xuanyu were dumbfounded. Le Renkuang wondered, what took Sha Xiaochen so long? It has been half an hour. Zhang Xuanyu shrugged. Sha Xiaochen must have sneak attacked Han Fei. She likes it. Last time, when I was cultivating, she suddenly slashed me with a knife and almost cut my face. At this time, Luo Xiaobai came back from the library and climbed into her treehouse. When she saw the two of them, she asked, "Where is Xiaochen?" Le Renkuang said helplessly, "Went to the mountain to have a fight with Han Fei." Luo Xiaobai frowned. "I remember Han Fei told us not to disturb him." Zhang Xuanyu laughed. "Haha, you don't know Sha Xiaochen at all. Can she listen to him? Among us, she likes to fight the most." Little did they know that on the top of the mountain at this moment, Sha Xiaochen almost went crazy. Her clothes were almost gone. Han Fei's eyelids jumped crazily. "Don't panic. The lightning is getting less and less. I will." Boom. Ah. A minute later. "Han Fei, you're shameless." Okay, I am. I'm gonna kill you. Yes, I'll let you kill me after we go back down the mountain." "Get up. I can't move. I'm gonna bite you to death." Yuck. Sha Xiaochen bit off a piece of the hard shell on Han Fei's shoulder. Han Fei reminded her, "Be careful. Don't break your teeth." Sha Xiaochen was furious and bit again. Ah, ouch. Han Fei was helpless. "The shell is too tough for your teeth. Look, it's like my armor." Sha Xiaochen glared at him in rage. "Shut up, damn you. You are dead meat. I swear I will kill you. I told you not to come to me." Sha Xiaochen kept cursing. "Why won't the lightning strike you to death?" Humph. Sha Xiaochen just wished a few more bolts of lightning would come down on Han Fei and destroy his brain. But the rain had gradually decreased and lightning seemed to be much less. There was lightning every minute or two just now, but now for a long time, no lightning had fallen. And they finally could move their bodies. Bam! Han Fei was pushed away by Sha Xiaochen. Then she looked at herself and immediately hid behind the big rock in shame. Sha Xiaochen stuck out her head and said angrily, "Clothes." "Where, fool?" "In the sea swallowing seashell. We bought a lot of clothes." Han Fei had thrown the sea swallowing seashell into Forge the Universe. He immediately took out a suit from the seashell and handed it to Sha Xiaochen behind the rock. Han Fei instructed, "Sha Xiaochen, don't come out. Let me take a shower and get rid of the shell on me first." Sha Xiaochen said nothing. Han Fei's body gave a sudden jolt and large pieces of the black shell fell. Han Fei found that he lost weight again. Now he only weighed 300 pounds or so. Although he was still fat, he was completely different from before. Han Fei felt full of strength, his muscles didn't hurt, his internal organs were repaired, and his bones weren't sour. Suddenly, Han Fei felt a wind behind him. He looked back, only to see Sha Xiaochen stab at him with double daggers. She had activated Supreme Stab and fire could be seen even in the void of her eyes. Han Fei turned around and ducked it. Sha Xiaochen covered her eyes in the midair and was about to fall down the cliff. Han Fei grabbed Sha Xiaochen with a jerk. "Where are you going to jump?" Sha Xiaochen turned into a shadow, flashed across the ground, and hid behind the rock. "Han Fei, you are shameless, mean, nasty, gross. Hurry up, put your clothes on." Sha Xiaochen kept cursing behind the rock, while Han Fei stood in the rain and looked at the surrounding floating islands. Gradually, Sha Xiaochen's voice disappeared, but no one came out. Han Fei looked back. "Sha." The next second, Han Fei's face changed drastically. Although Sha Xiaochen often slashed him before, Han Fei never took it seriously, but now he felt his heart almost stopped pounding. On the rock, Sha Xiaochen's body glowed an eerie red light, accompanied by electric current. Gosh! Han Fei immediately realized that Sha Xiaochen went crazy again without any warning. Xiaochen, Han Fei called softly. However, Sha Xiaochen disappeared from the rock in the blink of an eye. Almost instantaneously, she hacked at Han Fei's chest. Han Fei quickly moved back but was still cut by her, and his skin was torn. Han Fei immediately protected himself with a spiritual energy protective cover and two knives appeared in his hands. In an instant, they had exchanged dozens of blows. Clang, 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 rip. In less than a minute, his spiritual energy protective cover was shattered. Soon Han Fei had 5 or 6 wounds on his body. Although they were not deep, he was still shocked. He had just upgraded his indestructible body and tempered his body with the thunderbolts, and the energy in his body had soared, but he still failed to block her attacks. Fuse. On the top of another mountain, Old Bai and the other two were watching the fight. Xiao Zan's face changed slightly and he was about to stop them. Old Bai stopped Xiao Zan. Don't move. You can't stay with them all the time. Let Han Fei solve it by himself. Xiao Zan and Wenren Yu frowned and were ready to stop them at any time. And on this side, Han Fei's strength skyrocketed after the fusion. Sha Xiaochen's swift figure was finally captured by him and the two started fighting frantically. Even the rocks were crushed by the power of their attacks. Han Fei jumped to the sky and shot water columns at Sha Xiaochen. Their hands were undetectable and only the glint and flash of cold steel could be seen. Han Fei used various kinds of combat skills. However, Sha Xiaochen proficiently wielded her shadow and dagger techniques and was no weaker than him. What was worse, perhaps because Sha Xiaochen's attacks were too fierce, or for some unknown reason, Han Fei found that his fusion could be forcibly terminated at any time. Attach. 7-star chain. Bam, bam, bam. At the same speed, Han Fei finally managed to bind Sha Xiaochen. She couldn't change into a shadow anytime, which required her to be in a free state. Half an hour passed until Sha Xiaochen suddenly collapsed. Han Fei quickly supported her. Sha Xiaochen, hello, can you hear me? Sha Xiaochen. I'm so tired. Han Fei was relieved and terminated the fusion and attachment. Then he sat on the ground, panting. After a moment, Sha Xiaochen looked at Han Fei with red eyes and said in guilt, Han Fei waved his hand and smiled. Forget it. We're even now. Now I'm not shameless, mean, nasty and gross, right? Poochie. Sha Xiaochen rolled her eyes at Han Fei. Hurry down the mountain. Don't tell anyone and put on clothes. Han Fei looked down at the rags on his body and was speechless. Shit, I put on these clothes only 5 minutes ago and now they've become rags. Oh, my money. Chapter 165 Sha Xiaochen, Red Ribbon. Chapter 165. Sha Xiaochen, Red Ribbon. On top of the mountain, Wenren Yu looked at Old Bai. Old Bai, is Han Fei's spiritual heritage a Thunder one? Old Bai shook his head slightly. I don't know. In the boundless universe, there are millions of kinds of spiritual heritage. But since he could block the thunderbolt, I am afraid that it's possible. Wenren Yu frowned. Okay, Han Fei is the disciple of Old Zhang. We can trust him. But Sha Xiaochen, where did you find her? Will what happened just now happen again? Although our Thug Academy doesn't care about students' origins or backgrounds, don't forget how we declined. Old Bai sighed. She's the daughter of an old friend. Her father asked me to take care of her. Don't think too much about it. Wenren Yu asked, who is that old friend of yours? The other students' spiritual heritages and talents all have origins, but Sha Xiaochen does not. Old Bai said blandly, just as I said, in the boundless universe, there are millions of kinds of spiritual heritage. How can you be sure that Han Fei has a thunder spiritual heritage? Can you be sure that this strange power of Sha Xiaochen is not by chance? There are too many chances in the infinite ocean. Who knows? ... As soon as Han Fei and Sha Xiaochen returned, Le Renquang screamed. Le Renquang widened his eyes. Hey, who are you? What did you do to Han Fei? Han Fei rolled his eyes. Quang Quang, shut up. Le Renquang was stunned. Damn, how did you lose so much weight all of a sudden? Tell me, what did you go through? It was only 2 hours, and you became thin like this. Would you have become even thinner than me if there had been another 2 hours? Han Fei said angrily, I was thinner than you. If you want, you can go to the top of the mountain and try to be struck by lightning. Le Ren was stunned. Huh, you were struck by lightning. Han Fei stretched out his hand, and as he put his thumb and index finger together, a blue arc flashed between the two fingers. Shit, were you really struck by lightning? Sha Xiaochen snorted. Yes, he was almost killed. Zhang Xuanyu was dumbfounded. Ah, is that true? Don't lie to me. I have never heard that lightning can help people lose weight, nor have I heard that anyone can survive lightning strikes. Luo Xiaobai said coldly, it must be true. He changed his clothes. Suddenly, everyone fell silent. They found that not only Han Fei, but Sha Xiaochen also changed her clothes. Was Sha Xiaochen struck by lightning too? Now, no one was concerned about why Han Fei lost weight. Because Han Fei had said countless times that he would become thin soon. But the two stayed on the top of the mountain alone, and when they went down, their clothes were changed, which was suspicious. Le Renquang swallowed. The two of them stayed alone for quite a while. Zhang Xuanyu looked shocked, raising his hand and pointed at Han Fei tremblingly. You're simply shameless. Bam! Then, Zhang Xuanyu flew out of the treehouse like lightning. At the next moment, the treehouse was split in half. Zhang Xuanyu escaped while shouting, Sha Xiaochen, I will keep you secret, I will keep my mouth shut. No, don't slash me. Luo Xiaobai finally realized she made a mistake. I seem to have said something wrong. Le Renquang patted his chest. It's horrible. I feel a chill down my spine. I don't know why, but I dare not ask. Zhang Xuanyu was chased and slashed for about an hour. Han Fei lay down in the treehouse, flustered and doubtful. Just now, Sha Xiaochen's strength had increased a lot. Why did the red light on her body feel so much like a kind of energy? Just like candle dragon blood he absorbed. Then Han Fei stopped thinking about it. Neither Sha Xiaochen nor Old Bai revealed anything about it. It must be a secret that they couldn't tell others. At this time, he found that his data had changed a lot. Less than owner greater than Han Fei. Less than level greater than 23 junior great fishing master. Less than spiritual energy greater than 66,245 2099. Less than spiritual heritage greater than level 4, low quality upgradable. Less than spiritual beast greater than twin yin-yang spirit swallowing fish. Less than weapon greater than purple bamboo rod. Less than main art greater than water vein technique, volume 3 of void fishing, spirit level, divine quality. Han Fei was surprised to find that the upper limit of his spiritual energy broke through the bottleneck. Before, it was stuck at 1899 points. Now, after he was struck by lightning, it finally increased. His spiritual heritage was also upgraded to level 4, low quality. Besides, Han Fei felt full of power, just like he just finished charging. There were still electric arcs between his fingers. Han Fei suddenly sat up and shouted at the window, Luo Xiaobai, what is the upper limit of your spiritual energy? Luo Xiaobai glanced at Han Fei. It's almost 1400, what's up? Nothing. What about you, Quagquang? Le Renquang stuck out his head. A little bit more than 1400. How about you? Han Fei pretended to be ecstatic. Haha, mine is 1700. Luo Xiaobai frowned. How is that possible? In theory, the limit of a junior great fishing master can reach is 1500. How can yours be so high? Han Fei said innocently, because I was struck by lightning. After that, my limit rose directly from 1400 to 1700. Le Renquang kept shaking his head. Are you crazy? I don't want to try it. That's lightning. People die when struck by lightning. You are the only exception. Han Fei clicked his tongue. This matter could not be concealed. Old Bai and the teachers must have known what happened just now. As for Sha Xiaochen, she watched it all the way. He had to find an excuse that she would believe. Sure enough, soon Old Bai, Xiaozan, and Wenren Yu came down. Xiaozan asked straightforwardly, Han Fei, what happened to you just now? I don't know. I just went to cultivate, but as soon as I sat down, I was struck by lightning even though I hadn't started yet. Wenren Yu let out a sigh of relief. Phew, at least you are still alive. Han Fei said aggrievedly, Ms. Wenren, do you want me to die so badly? Wenren Yu gave Han Fei a sideways glance. What did you feel at the time? The upper limit of my spiritual energy skyrocketed and my body strength also increased a lot. Oh, yes, and my spiritual heritage, it seems to have improved a bit. Everyone. Xiao Zhan frowned. Are you sure? It makes sense that your body strength increased because thunderbolts have a magical effect of refining impurities. But why did your spiritual energy and spiritual heritage? Old Bai jumped in. Since his body strength was greatly increased, so was the upper limit of his body and meridians. This is understandable, but how much has your spiritual heritage improved? Han Fei smiled. It seems to have upgraded from level 3, high quality, to level 4. I'm not sure about the specific quality. Old Bai looked at Wenren Yu. Get the spiritual heritage testing stone here. Soon, Wenren Yu brought the stone. In the curious eyes of everyone, Han Fei put his hand on the stone. Immediately, a pale blue light burst out. Everyone let out a breath and Old Bai said, Level 4, low quality. Everyone including Zhang Xuanyu, who finally escaped from Sha Shaochen, took a long breath. This guy got an exotic spiritual heritage after being struck by lightning, which was really enviable. Old Bai meditated for a moment and explained, it may just be pure thunder baptism, which helped you break through the bottleneck. If I've guessed right, when the thunder power in your body is exhausted, the improvement of your physical strength and upper limit of spiritual energy will also stop and won't last long. Xiao Zhan patted Han Fei on the shoulder. Understand, cultivate well these days to assimilate this thunder power. Han Fei smiled. Come on, I never stopped cultivating, okay. You don't know anything. I exhausted my goddamn ultra-quality spiritual stone and half of my low-quality spiritual stone to reach where I am today. Only Sha Shaochen, with disheveled hair, looked at Han Fei suspiciously. Is it really as simple as what the president said? Absolutely not. She watched Han Fei being struck by lightning and vomiting blood like a blood fountain. Now he told everyone that he was in good shape and not injured at all. She certainly wouldn't believe it. When everyone was gone, Han Fei secretly spent 1,000 points of spiritual energy to make a red ribbon with sea silk and ruby. Han Fei held the red ribbon and nodded in satisfaction. Ancient people used this to tie their hair. That's it. Han Fei shouted at the window, Sha Shaochen, come here. The next second, 3 heads stuck out of the treehouses and 6 eyes stared at him. Han Fei was helpless. I didn't call you guys. Sha Shaochen said in a muffled voice, I don't want to go there. Then I'm going to your treehouse. Han Fei jumped down his own treehouse, climbed into Sha Shaochen's treehouse, and then said, don't attack me. I have something for you. In the treehouse, Sha Shaochen glared fiercely at him. What is it? Han Fei waved the red ribbon in his hand and said, turn your head away. Sha Shaochen, turn your head away. As Sha Shaochen turned her head away, Han Fei held her hair and said, this is the red ribbon I just made for you. You can use it to tie your hair. It definitely looks nicer than your previous one. Sha Shaochen gritted her teeth, holding knives in her hand. Shall I slash him? Shall I? What if I can't beat him? Shall I give up because I can't beat him? In the end, Sha Shaochen didn't slash him, but Han Fei had done her hair up and tied a large bowknot on it. Then Han Fei said seriously, don't tell anyone about the lightning strike, okay? Well, go look in the mirror. I'm going to cultivate. Sha Shaochen narrowed her eyes. You've got a big secret, haven't you? Han Fei shook his head. No, absolutely not. A sly gleam flickered across Sha Shaochen's eyes and she suddenly patted Han Fei's shoulder hard. Don't worry, I will keep your secret. After Han Fei left, Sha Shaochen trembled as she recalled the scene where lightning struck her and Han Fei. It seemed that not only she, but others also had untold secrets. Somehow, she was a little excited. So there is someone even more miserable than me. Sha Shaochen suddenly cheered up. She used a dagger as a mirror, tilted her head and looked at the red ribbon and bow. Her eyes lit up as she thought, it's so beautiful. Chapter 166 Here Come the Thugs. Chapter 166 Here Come the Thugs. 2 days later, practicing the 108 spirit-absorbing orb bodies once, Han Fei was very satisfied with the increase in the upper limit of spiritual energy. Although it didn't reach 2199, it was almost the same. And last night, when he practiced void fishing, he discovered that the third level of void fishing was completely different from the second level, and it could be said that the effect had improved tenfold. Even if he was not at sea, with a spirit gathering circle, he could absorb nearly 8,000 points of spiritual energy from the void. This speed was terrifying. He still remembered that there were only more than 300 points when he was practicing the first level of void fishing, and it was only about 1,200 points at the second level. Because it was too slow, he chose to go to the barbecue stall to collect spiritual energy. Now, he could collect up to 8,000 points overnight. It would only take 3 or 4 months for him to accumulate millions of points of spiritual energy, which was more than enough for his cultivation. But it required 10 million points of spiritual energy to deduce the fourth level. Even if he worked hard every night, it would take him more than 3 years to collect so much spiritual energy. Damn, this technique is powerful but consumes too much spiritual energy. It's not a problem to deduce it to the fourth level. But what about the fifth level? Swish. Suddenly, Han Fei felt a gust of wind behind him and hurriedly activated the spiritual energy protective cover. Crack. The protective cover was broken, a dagger was inserted into Han Fei's skin a little bit, and blood oozed out. Han Fei called out, "Sha Xiaochen, don't be so elusive. It's scary." Sha Xiaochen looked at Han Fei's wound and wondered, "How come your body has become even stronger?" Han Fei said innocently, "I've assimilated the thunder power. You see, in just 2 days, you can still pierce my skin, so my body is not as strong as you thought." Sha Xiaochen sneered, "Even an advanced great fishing master can't block my supreme stab, but you did it. And you said your body was not strong. Then how strong do you want it?" Han Fei waved his hand. "All right, when you become an intermediate great fishing master, try again. At that time, I bet it'll more than just pierce my skin." Sha Xiaochen still felt that Han Fei had other secrets. Why did he go to the top of the mountain to cultivate that day? And why did he happen to be struck by lightning? It was too strange. Sha Xiaochen raised her eyelids. "Let's go. Go to the arena." The Blue Sea Arena informed me that they found some teams of all intermediate great fishing masters, enough for us to fight for 3 days. Are they strong? Our goal is advanced great fishing masters. Intermediate great fishing masters aren't worth our attention. Blue Sea Arena. There was a sea of people here again. After people learned that the Thug Legend would come again, the tickets were soon sold out. Backstage, Han Fei saw many teams. When these teams saw Han Fei and the others, their eyes were shining and they seemed unable to wait to come up to fight them right away. Loren wondered, "These people look like they're going to eat us." Zhang Xuanyu said with a smile, "I heard that the bonus will be a lot if they beat us." Luo Xiaobai suggested, "Let's try a few games first. If it's difficult to win, we can use tactics. If it's easy, just beat them." Sha Xiaochen pondered, "I want to feel how strong an intermediate great fishing master's body is." Everyone looked at Sha Xiaochen. Recently, Sha Xiaochen was obsessed with stabbing Han Fei. Although she always lost, she just didn't stop trying. There was a sea of people and a sea of voices from the spectator seats. This time, the other 3 academies also sent people to watch the games. Several teenagers from the first academy sat in the front row. Next to them, a female teacher said, "Look closely, if they can win against these teams of intermediate great fishing masters within 10 minutes, we will arrange for you to fight them in a few days." One of the students said, "I don't think it's a problem. There are very few perfect combinations in these teams. Their combat power and control ability are not as good as the Thug Legend. I don't think they can win." Another student said, "I heard that the second academy sent their best students over. They are all on the top 1,000 list of the 3 academies. They seem to intend to measure the Thug Legend's strength." A girl said, "Don't overestimate them. The top 1,000 masters in the Blue Sea Town are all peak-level intermediate great fishing masters. Moreover, they have received systematic training and gone through tactical drills. They are more experienced than them." The female teacher said, "Don't be proud. The fourth academy has not shown up for 30 years. I don't think they just want their students to win these intermediate great fishing masters this time. On the other side, the team of the second academy. A male teacher said, "It's not that I overrated the fourth academy. These intermediate great fishing masters should not be able to win against the Thug Legend's perfect formation. So, regardless of the result, I will consider arranging for you to fight them next time." One of the students said, "Teacher, are you so optimistic about the fourth academy?" "I am just not optimistic for these teams of intermediate great fishing masters." In the arena, the host was trying to enliven the atmosphere. He called out, "My dear friends, the Thug Legend has returned, but their opponents have also become stronger." The teams were composed entirely of intermediate great fishing masters. Any team of them once dominated the Blue Sea arena, and any one of them had slaughtered their enemies in the level 2 fishery. Undoubtedly, today's game is a must-see. Let's welcome the first team today, the Iron Bone team. Who? Get rid of the Thug Legend. I bet you win. Get rid of the thugs and you'll be the legend. In the entire arena, nearly half of the people were cheering for the Iron Bone team. Because it didn't make any sense to bet on the Thug Legend, the odds were too low. As long as the Iron Bone team won, everyone's chips would at least double. The members of the Iron Bone team roared. The captain gave instruction to his team. "Our 2 hunters will block that Sha Shaochen, our armorist will block the opponent's armorist, and our soul warrior will quickly solve Zhang Xuanyu, who is still a peak-level fishing master. I will block Han Fei and Luo Xiaobai, and our soul warrior shall come back to support us as quickly as possible." At this moment, the Thug Legend walked into the arena and the audience erupted into deafening cheers. "Thugs, lose one game and we will make a fortune. Lose. Why insist on a 100-game winning streak? How tiring. Zhang Xuanyu, I love you. Sha Shaochen, I like you. Shit, Han Fei, you've lost weight. The referee, this guy is not Han Fei. Check it out." To many people's surprise, Han Fei had lost a lot of weight and was no longer a meatball. A girl shouted, "Han Fei, what method did you use to lose weight?" Le Renquang sighed, "Alas, I'm so sad." Han Fei chuckled, "You can try being struck by lightning." Le Renquang scoffed, "I don't want to die." Luo Xiaobai got serious, "Be careful, the other party's captain is very strong. He is both a manipulator and a soul warrior. Don't underestimate him." Sha Shaochen pressed her hand on the dagger. "I'll solve him." Luo Xiaobai cautioned, "It won't be that simple. Their 2 hunters are probably aiming for you." Zhang Xuanyu was surprised. "What? Their captain wants to fight you and Han Fei at the same time? Is he out of his mind?" "Let's see." The host continued, "Okay, now both parties are ready. Although it hasn't started yet, I have felt the strong aura from both sides. Look, the Iron Bone team moved and their momentum is soaring. Wow, the Thug Legend is still as casual as ever. Now let's see if the Thug Legend can continue to create a legend." The game begins. Fuse. Attach. Sha Shaochen immediately disappeared, and then in the air, she fought the hunters of the opponent fiercely and sparks flew all over. The opponent's armorist took the lead to launch an attack. Torrents of knives and swords was not a particularly complicated combat skill, and their armorist had mastered it too. Le Renquang laughed. "Interesting. Torrents of knives and swords." In an instant, there seemed to be hundreds of swords and knives colliding in the air, and the scene was very chaotic. The opponent's soul warrior had already rushed up, and the long spear in his hand flashed with a cold glint dozens of meters away as he darted at Zhang Xuanyu. 7 layered waves in furious sea. Zhang Xuanyu shattered the opponent's spear. And the host shouted, "Oh my god, Zhang Xuanyu is already a great fishing master. This game has become even more exciting." However, the captain of the Iron Bone team seems to intend to fight 2 at the same time. How should he handle Han Fei and Luo Xiaobai's attacks simultaneously? Han Fei muttered, "I'll try him out." With that, Han Fei ejected forward, waving the double knives in his hand, and seemed to be going to slash the opponent down. The audience, everyone was speechless. Maybe this guy was the most violent spirit gatherer they had ever seen. Chapter 167 Provocation from the First Academy. Chapter 167 Provocation from the First Academy. Han Fei was not slow. Although he knew that the captain of the Iron Bone team was a manipulator, so what? Luo Xiaobai was also a manipulator, but she couldn't control him. The captain of the Iron Bone team's face turned cold. Bug boom. For a time, the ground was trembling, and countless beetles appeared and soon covered the entire ground. Buzz. Han Fei was shocked. Is he a manipulator? No, he's AFC King Bug Master, okay. Bug disaster. Luo Xiaobai's face changed slightly. Vine kill. Dozens of vines broke out of the ground and instantly turned into giant whips, fiercely flapping on the ground. Every time they whipped, there was a pile of bugs turning into spiritual energy fragments. But the manipulator didn't seem to care, because when a vine fell to the ground, it was also gnawed to pieces quickly. Luo Xiaobai frowned. Deep blue poison vine. The vines were rolling on the ground. But around the withered vines, a circle of spiritual bugs were poisoned to death and shattered. Luo Xiaobai controlled the vines and pulled Han Fei into the air. However, the next moment, countless bugs flew up and chased Han Fei. Han Fei glanced at the swirling swords and knives all over the sky not far away and said, "Blade storm." The magic of love turns in circles, one circle after another. Luo Xiaobai. Le Renquang grinned. What are you singing? It's terrible. Han Fei kept rotating in the bugs, but he could not resist the overwhelming amount of bugs. A large number of the bugs were easily torn apart, but Han Fei had still been covered with insects due to the gaps between his attacks. Bam! Han Fei's body suddenly erupted with spiritual energy, directly shaking the bugs away. The captain of the Iron Bone team shouted, "Damn! Why haven't you killed Zhang Xuanyu yet?" Their soul warrior didn't know what to say. "I want to get rid of him, but he is way too strong. You won't know how horrible the 7-layered waves in Furious Sea is until you've experienced it on your own. The waves came one after another and I don't even have a chance to retreat. Fortunately, Zhang Xuanyu has just become a great fishing master and his spiritual energy is not as much as mine. Otherwise, I would have been beaten by him." The host cheered. "Wonderful, so wonderful. This is a feast of swords and knives. This is a showdown between manipulators." Not long after the host shouted, a figure flew out, spitting blood. It was a hunter from the Iron Bone team. He was knocked out by Sha Shaochen. Wow, many people took a breath. 2 intermediate great fishing masters couldn't resist a junior great fishing master. How long had the battle been going on? It was less than 2 minutes. Someone among the audience shouted, "Alas, it's over. Sha Shaochen is freed. The Iron Bone team is going to lose." Just as Sha Shaochen solved a hunter, Han Fei finally circled up to the captain of the Iron Bone team who wanted to run away, but Luo Xiaobai didn't give him a chance at all. The vines and bugs were entangled as they trapped him inside. Bam! After Han Fei finally stopped rotating, he was dizzy and almost stumbled. This combat skill had a big disadvantage. Using it for a long time, he would lose his sense of balance. The captain of the Iron Bone team was lying on the ground groaning. "It's not that we're not strong enough but that the gap between us and the Thug Legend is too great." Within a few seconds, the Iron Bone team, which had lost 2 team members, declared defeat, and the battle took a total of 3 minutes. Many in the audience shouted, "Thug Legend! Thug Legend!" Someone ridiculed, "Why were these people so stupid as to bet on the Iron Bone team to win? Come on, their opponents have a perfect combination." Someone said, "Who knew they would lose so easily?" The teams of the 3 academies had heated discussions respectively. The first academy, "I think their strength is not as strong as expected. This Iron Bone team is not strong. Except for their captain, the other team members are junk." No, the Thug Legend obviously didn't use all their strength. Look at that Han Fei. He was only rotating. He didn't seem to take those bugs seriously. However, it's clear that Luo Xiaobai's strength is not as strong as we imagined. It seems that he is only a peak-level intermediate great fishing master. The second academy, the Iron Bone team can't test their real strength. "Teacher, shall we arrange a group of people to fight them?" The teacher shook his head. "Which group of people? I don't think anybody not in the top 1,000 list can beat them. And your strength is at most equal to theirs. Yes, let the third academy go. They always like to grab the limelight." The third academy, the teacher stated, Let the first and second academy fight them. We're not going to do that. A student asked, Teacher, shall we call the first echelon in the school over? No, I bet, whoever goes first will lose. After winning against the Iron Bone team, the Thug Legend continued to crush all the other teams. On the first day, 10 battles, and 10 victories, the average lasting time was 3 minutes. On the second day, 10 battles, and 10 victories, the average lasting time was 4 minutes. On the third day, 10 battles, and 10 victories, the average lasting time was 5 minutes. On this day, it was said that they would fight a team of advanced great fishing masters. At last, they would have a real battle. When they arrived at the Blue Sea Arena, however, they saw 5 teenagers coming at them. Thug Legend, do you think it's easy to win 50 games? Luo Xiaobai asked, who are you? The leading teenager smiled and said, Yang Xiao, from the First Academy. Today, we'll be your opponent in the first game and we're also a perfect combination. I hope you can show your real strength. If you still fight like you were in the previous days, just wait to admit defeat. Zhang Xuanyu ignored the boy but said to the girl in the team. Hey, girl, may I take you to Hot Pot tonight? The girl glared at Zhang Xuanyu and snorted. If you can beat me. Sha Xiaochen rolled her eyes. Zhang Xuanyu, you make me feel ashamed. Le Renquang muttered, they seem to be very powerful. Yang Xiao was helpless. Are you listening to me? Luo Xiaobai shot back, okay, as you wish. A student behind Yang Xiao sneered. Fourth Academy, wait, do you really think you can dominate the Blue Sea Arena? Han Fei looked at Sha Xiaochen. Is he provoking us? Sha Xiaochen nodded. Yes, let's get rid of him first. Everyone. In the VIP room, backstage. After reading the information in her hand, Luo Xiaobai said, go all out in this game. Zhang Xuanyu was a bit surprised. Is that necessary? They don't look that strong. In the first 50 games, we have never had perfect cooperation. If we continue to be like that later, our perfect combination won't make any sense to us. Sha Xiaochen waved her dagger. Okay, if we win this game, we'll only face stronger and stronger opponents. The First Academy team had already entered the arena and the audience was cheering like crazy because this team had temporarily taken the name, Thug Eliminator Team, which was very provocative. When the two teams both entered the arena, the host introduced, Yang Xiao, an intermediate great fishing master and a spirit gatherer, has an exotic spiritual beast, electric spirit jellyfish. Hu Karen, the only girl of this team, a peak-level junior great fishing master and a soul warrior, has an exotic spiritual beast, Ice Flame Turtle. Lu Abai, a peak-level junior great fishing master and an armorist, has an exotic spiritual beast, Wolf Crab. Sun Feiyu, an intermediate great fishing master and a hunter, has an exotic spiritual beast, Phantom Jellyfish. Lin Miao, a junior great fishing master, a manipulator, Sea Green Vine. Note that he has an exotic spiritual plant, which is even tougher than the blue cannibal flower. Zhang Xuanyu grinned. That little girl is a soul warrior. Interesting. Le Renquang gasped. They're strong. They are a perfect combination and all have exotic spiritual beasts. Sha Xiaochen snorted. There are many people owning exotic spiritual beasts, but how many of them are geniuses? Han Fei said decisively, leave Yang Xiao to me. Can you solve Lin Miao, Luo Xiaobai? You're both manipulators. Han Fei looked at Luo Xiaobai and smiled. They didn't go all out in the first 50 games, but now they would show something real. Luo Xiaobai was calm. No problem. But if anything goes wrong, I will drag you guys back. At this moment, the audience found that the Thug Legend had changed, but they couldn't tell exactly what had changed. They just seemed to be different. The host finally announced, the game begins. Chapter 168 The Real Thugs. Chapter 168 The Real Thugs. Fuse. This time, the audience was surprised to find that the Thug Legend did not take the initiative to launch an attack, but stood still. Someone said, they are all geniuses. This game will be wonderful. Someone echoed, yes, the other team is definitely not weak either. Someone said, I have betted on the Thug Eliminator team to win. Since they dare to come, they must be prepared. Have you heard of Yang Xiao? His spiritual beast is an exotic electric spirit jellyfish. It is said that he will enter the top 100 list. I've also heard of Hukaran. Her spiritual beast, Ice Flame Turtle, can breathe ice flames to freeze people into ice cubes in combat. From the teams of the 3 academies. Next to the teacher of the first academy, there was only a boy with an indifferent look. The teacher asked, "What do you think of them?" The boy replied, "Nothing. If the 4th academy can't beat Yongshao, they aren't qualified to rise." Among the crowd, He Xiaoyu and the others were also there. He Xiaoyu was worried. Can they win? Yongshao is very strong. Wang Baiyu said solemnly, Yongshao is ranked 907th in the 3 academies. He is very strong. He Xiaoyu swallowed. Hukaran is my schoolmate. I have watched her fight and she froze people into ice cubes. On the field, Lin Miao took the lead to attack. He pressed on the ground with one hand, and the ground burst. Cyan vines wriggled around like spiritual snakes and thousands of them broke out of the ground in the blink of an eye. Han Fei and the other 4 were entangled in vines and couldn't escape. Lu Abai cried, "Flying fish! Dagger!" The dagger in the hunter's hand shot like lightning and darted at Sha Shaochen, but the latter just leaned her head and dodged it. Sha Shaochen snorted, "How dare you provoke us?" Giggle. Shadow kill. Sha Shaochen suddenly disappeared and a silver ray appeared in front of Sun Feiyu in an instant. Sun Feiyu's face changed greatly. She's so fast. Shield. Lu Abai responded quickly, and a shield appeared immediately in front of Sun Feiyu. Clank. The shield was punctured with a hole. Sun Feiyu blocked with 2 daggers and slid back 4 or 5 meters on the ground. But Sha Shaochen disappeared in the vines, and Lin Miao's face changed slightly. Not right. Shadow. Yes, Sha Shaochen had completely turned into a shadow and appeared in front of Sun Feiyu. Shadow blade. Shadows were everywhere and Sun Feiyu's body was penetrated. Gosh, so strong. Sun Feiyu really shouldn't have provoked her just now. Han Fei instructed, "Pull her back. Quang, someone is showing off his armor box in front of you." In the midair, a fine vine gave a sharp pull and Sha Shaochen appeared again. Sun Feiyu, who had just been pierced, reappeared in midair and looked distressed. He underestimated the strength of Sha Shaochen. Han Fei stomped, a spirit-gathering circle appeared on the ground, and then a column of spiritual energy entered into Zhang Xuanyu's body. Zhang Xuanyu grinned. Wave, clatter. Suddenly, a phantom of surging waves appeared in the air of the arena and the surging waves rushed towards the first academy team. The audience all held their breath. Wow, this was the first time they saw the thug legend showed this ability. Zhang Xuanyu stood at the top of the waves, piercing the void with the rod in his hand. The sonic boom produced crashed across the entire arena. Hukaran's face was solemn and she shouted, "Ice Flame Torrent." Next to her, Lu Abai patted his armor box and dozens of strange scales suddenly appeared in the air and he seemed to be going to help Hukaran. Le Renquang shouted, "Hey, do you think I don't exist? Let me show you what an armorist should be." Bang! The armor box in Le Renquang's hand broke open the ground and a broadsword flew out. In a blink of an eye, the broadsword was only about 10 meters away from Lu Abai. As the broadsword flew over, the ground was torn apart and gravels followed the broadsword and swirled. However, in the audience's eyes, the speed of the knife was very slow and it seemed that it would take a second to fly 1 meter in midair. Lin Miao controlled the vines to attack the broadsword. However, the vines were shattered before even reaching this broadsword. The teacher from the first academy was shocked. Bloodthirsty broadsword. The boy beside the teacher wondered, "What is that?" The teacher gasped, "A born combat skill of armorists. It appears along with the spiritual beast. Once the broadsword comes out, it won't return unless it drinks blood. And it's almost invincible before drinking blood." At this moment, on the waves, Zhang Xuanyu was fighting Hukaran. To everyone's horror, Hukaran's ice flame that was said to be able to freeze people was cut in half by Zhang Xuanyu, and Hukaran couldn't even get close to Zhang Xuanyu. Sun Feiyu's face was very gloomy. Phantom. Doppelganger. Sha Shaochen giggled. Doppelganger. Okay, show me. Shadowless blade. In the next second, the dozens of Sun Feiyu doppelgangers were cut into pieces by the blades before they even had the time to help their companions. The teacher from the First Academy lunged to his feet in shock. Shadowless blade, the blade that can split space. The Thug Eliminator team was stunned. What kind of magical combat skills are these? We've never seen them. At this time, Luo Xiaobai raised her left hand and pointed at Lin Miao. Blue cannibal flower. The ground was shaking, petals fluttered from the sky, and a strange huge blue flower appeared on the ground like a huge lotus, which opened its mouth and swallowed Lin Miao. Yang Xiao's eyes turned red. Thunder chain. As soon as he roared, a semi-curved water wall with a width of several meters curved around Yang Xiao 10 meters away. At this moment, the water wall flashed with electric currents. Han Fei walked forward and stepped into the water wall, letting the electric currents flash on him. Then he strode out of the water wall and the electric currents flashed between his fingers. Funny, is the electric spirit jellyfish comparable to the real Ninth Heaven Thunder? Now Yang Xiao was nothing but a spirit gatherer without any protection. Han Fei didn't even need to use any combat skill but just hacked at him with his double knives. Bam! ... Hu Karen vomited blood but wasn't sent flying because she was nailed to the ground by a rod piercing her belly. Bam! 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 In the shocked gaze of everyone, all of Lu Abai's weapons were completely vulnerable to the bloodthirsty broadsword. As fragile as paper, they were shattered and in the end, even Lu Abai's armor box was smashed. Lu Abai was penetrated and got on his knees. It was unimaginable how strong this force was to have such a horrible destructive power. No matter how many doppelgangers Sun Feiyu released, they were shattered at the very moment they appeared. Just after several seconds, he was already covered with blood. Yang Xiao had 2 knives inserted into his shoulders at the moment and Han Fei stood in front of him with a smile. He thought that Yang Xiao, as the captain, must have special abilities, but he didn't. Han Fei's fighting passion disappeared instantly. The Blue Sea Arena, which could accommodate 50,000 people, was silent at the moment. Sha Xiaochen withdrew her knives. Sun Feiyu fell from the sky but no one was catching him on the ground, so he fell heavily on the ground, dripping with blood. Hu Karen was nailed to the ground. Lu Abai knelt on the ground, clutching his wounds and gasping for breath. Lin Miao had passed out. Yang Xiao lay on the ground facing up. Electric arcs flashed in Han Fei's hand but didn't affect his movements at all. He easily pulled out his double knives and wiped the blood off the knives. At this moment, the 5 members of the Thug Legend looked around at the audience in the arena. Clap. Oh, thugs, thugs, thugs. Legend, 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 invincible, invincible. The whole arena went into a frenzy and countless people yelled in utter excitement. All teachers and students from the 3 academies stood up. Especially the 3rd academy, the teacher who decided not to fight the Thug Legend burst into a cold sweat. Fortunately, he made the right decision. What kind of monsters are they? Are they FC King Peak level great anglers? People from the 2nd academy swallowed but then looked at the 1st academy gloatingly. The teacher from the 1st academy clenched his fists. Too strong. They can definitely enter the top 100 list. Is the 4th academy actually so strong? The cold-looking boy said solemnly, the 2nd rank could not resist them. On the 100th game, I'll fight them in person. And my teammates must be selected from the top 100, preferably the top 50. He Xiaoyu and the others were completely stunned. They kept swallowing nervously. Now they remembered what Luo Xiaobai said to Sha Xiaochen, ordinary people can't get into our school. Chapter 169 We are back. Chapter 169 We are back. One game destroyed the confidence of countless people. The host spluttered, too strong, so strong. Luo Xiaobai took a step forward and looked at the place where the teams of the 3 academies were sitting. Today, the Thug Academy will accept challenges from all the teams below the level of Dangling Fisher from the 3 academies, as well as teams of the entire Blue Sea Town below the level of Dangling Fisher. Han Fei also stepped forward. If any team can win against us, I'll personally give each member 10,000 mid-quality pearls. Wow, now nobody was mentioning the Thug Eliminator team. Everyone who had watched the battle was excited and felt their blood boiling. Bao Jin clutched his chest, his eyes were frightened, and his voice was anxious. They are back. They really are back. The legendary academy is back. Those teams that were going to fight the thugs all quitted. They were not 5 children but 5 genuine thugs who were wild, irritable and people who slaughtered their enemies like killing fish. They didn't want to win the 10,000 mid-quality pearls. They just wanted to be alive. The intermediate great fishing masters all quitted. Nothing was more important than their lives. Why bother since they knew they would only lose? But the advanced and peak level great fishing masters all rushed over to register. They thought they could have a try. Despite the suspicion of bullying the weak, they could earn a lot of money. So, the registration office was overcrowded. Bao Jin rushed to the registration office and shouted, "Everyone, listen to me. Form a team first, and if you're not strong enough, don't sign up. We only need the strong. Do you hear me? We only need the strong." The boy from the first academy sneered. Are they being provocative? 10,000 mid-quality pearls per person. That's a lot of money. The boy said to the teacher next to him, I'll go back and choose my team members. I'll fight them for their 100th game. In a corner of the arena, there were 3 masked guys. Wenren Yu asked, Lao Bai, did these little guys go too far? Xiao Zhan smiled and said, this is a manifestation of strength. If a person has to hide his strength, then what is the point for him to become strong? Old Bai nodded. Yes, what Luo Xiaobai and Han Fei said stimulated too many people. Now they need to be very careful in each following game. This is no longer the same level competition but a heightened competition. Now their opponents will be peak level great fishing masters. Wenren Yu questioned, can they even handle peak level great fishing masters? Xiao Zhan grinned, not necessarily. These little guys are very strong. I have no doubt that they can kill a dangling fisher if they use their trump card combat skills. And peak level great fishing masters and dangling fisher are just like clouds and mud. Old Bai was excited. The top 100 list is going to be released. The last 50 games were a good chance for them to collect combat experience. Xiao Zhan, when they go back, tell them only to use 70% of their combat power in games unless they meet tough rivals. Xiao Zhan was surprised. 70%, but their opponents will be advanced great fishing masters. Old Bai smiled. Their improvement will be better if squeezing them to the extreme. The entire Blue Sea town knew that the 4th Academy had come back, for 5 teenagers had declared war on all the strong masters below dangling fishers in the Blue Sea town. He Xiaoyu kept hearing people talking about the thug legend on her way to her school. Wang Baiyu gave a wry smile. I used to think Tang Jie was the first genius in the Tianshui village. After all, he was selected by the angel and brought directly into the city. But now, I am a little unsure. Did Han Fei really reach where he is today because of the resources given to him by Tang Jie? Sha Wushwang sneered. Of course not. Think about it. What kind of resources can make you strong like this? How long has it been? We have been in the Blue Sea town for less than a year and Han Fei for less than 2 months, but now he has declared war on peak level great fishing masters. He Xiaoyu suddenly took a deep breath and said, I have decided. Everyone, He Xiaoyu declared, I choose to be a hunter. Everyone, Shang Nan shouted, hey, Xiaoyu, calm down. Sha Xiaochen is a hunter because her spiritual beast is a shadow shrimp. But your spiritual beast is a cardinal. You're suitable to be a soul warrior. He Xiaoyu shot back, no, you forget how fast Little Red can be. He Xiaoyu had made up her mind. Han Fei is so strong. She used to teach Han Fei sweeping stick. At that time, Han Fei was no match for her at all. But now, even if Han Fei stood still and let her hit him, she wouldn't be able to injure him. She knew clearly how strong Yang Xiao was, but Han Fei crushed him so easily. And Zhang Xuanyu was also horribly strong. Could she win against the 2 of them if she chose to be a soul warrior? That would be impossible, but she knew she had the talent of a hunter because she had Little Red and the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing. The latter could strengthen her body and make her body more limber. And with Little Red, it would be better for her to be a hunter than a soul warrior. Today's game was suspended. The Blue Sea Arena urgently recruited the top strong masters below dangling fishers with exotic spiritual beasts, so intermediate great fishing masters would not be qualified. Fish Dragon Hot Pot Restaurant. Le Renquang gobbled his food. Oh, I'm disappointed. They were so weak. We didn't need to use all our strength at all. Zhang Xuanyu muttered, should I go to apologize to that girl? Why should a girl be a soul warrior? No, no, will anyone accompany me to the First Academy? Han Fei scoffed. Hey, we were in a game. Don't be such a Casanova, okay? Zhang Xuanyu looked down. I feel guilty. Han Fei winked. I'll accompany you when we get 100-game winning streak. Really? Han Fei nodded seriously. For your happiness, toast. Sha Xiaochen mocked. Haha. You just want to go see your own girl, don't you? Luo Xiaobai questioned. Han Fei, is the Thunder Force invalid for you now? Han Fei laughed. This is no such thing called Thunder Force. It's not a big deal. It just paralyzed your body with instantaneous currents. Spiritual energy will be able to suppress this force. At this time, Li Gang sent some barbecue over. Li Gang praised, young master, you were awesome today. Han Fei smiled. Not just me. Yes, the other young masters and young ladies are also awesome. Li Gang was very grateful to Han Fei. Less than a year ago, he was still a gangster who lay around every day, nibbling sea melon seeds and collecting protection fees everywhere. But now he was the general manager of the Fish Dragons. Luo Xiaobai stated, let's finish eating and go back to cultivate. While they were eating hot pot happily, in the residence of the mayor of the Blue Sea town, Old Bai was sitting lazily and the presidents and deputy presidents of the other 3 academies were also there. Old Bai looked around the room. The 4-year period is over, and the top 100 competition is about to start again. The Thug Academy has been quiet for more than 30 years. Now we've come back, we can join the competition, right? President of the 2nd Academy snorted. Humph, you were absent from the competition 8 times in a row. Why do we have to allow you to attend it again just because you want? The president of the 1st Academy added, Old Bai, your academy only has the 5 little guys. What kind of academy only has 5 students? Old Bai ridiculed, so what? Didn't they crush your team? Even if there is only 1 student in our academy, we exist. Do you look down upon our students? Believe it or not, they can destroy you 1st Academy. Destroy the 1st Academy, in their current state. Old Bai nodded. Yes, the people of the Thug Academy have never lost, just like more than 30 years ago. The president of the 2nd Academy sneered. Never lost. Then how did you decline? The geniuses of your school either died or ran away. How do you have the cheek to brag here? Old Bai frowned. Shu Tianji, are you challenging me? I can beat the hell out of you guys alone. The 2 old men and the old woman blushed in anger. But they had to suppress their inner anger. Bai Kongye was very strong. Even the 3 of them and the mayor put together wouldn't be able to beat him. The mayor interjected, okay, you can attend the competition. The other presidents' faces changed. The mayor waved his hand. Other than that, what do you want? Now that the 4th Academy has come back, it is qualified. After all, the 4th Academy was not abolished. Aren't you afraid that those 5 little monsters will smash your schools? Shu Tianji scoffed. I don't think they can. Old Bai gave a light chuckle. So if my students can smash your school, you'll allow them to do it? Humph. Chapter 170 Divine Healing Technique. Chapter 170 Divine Healing Technique. The thug legend returned to school when they saw Old Bai walking past with his hands behind his back. Then a jade slip flew to them. Han Fei caught it and looked at Old Bai in confusion. Old Bai said slowly, your strength is improving too slowly. You'll easily get injured if you meet peak-level great fishing masters. Han Fei, learn this healing technique. As a spirit gatherer, you should learn some healing skills. But I don't have time. Old Bai spat. Oh, so you have time to eat hot pot but not to cultivate. You are only junior great fishing masters. Don't you feel ashamed? Everyone. After Old Bai left, Zhang Xuanyu touched his head. What's wrong with the president? Le Renquang wondered. I don't think our cultivation speed is slow. We have a good foundation. Luo Xiaobai said calmly, then let's speed up our cultivation. We should be facing the bottleneck of junior great fishing masters soon. The 100-game winning streak in the arena may be to prepare us for the next brocade sachet. Han Fei looked at the jade slip in his hand and wondered to himself, why did he give me the healing technique now? Did he mean that we would be injured in the near future? Han Fei mused, I'm going to the top of the mountain to cultivate. Everyone paused and Le Renquang grabbed Han Fei's arm. No, just cultivate in your treehouse. Zhang Xuanyu suggested, or in a cave. Sha Xiaochen shot Han Fei a glare. No one will go save you if you're struck by lightning again. Han Fei. Han Fei went to his treehouse, holding his head high and murmuring, that day, I stood on the top of the mountain and pointed at the sky, saying, I am not handsome. And then, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The rumbling thunders roared to me, you're lying. Everyone, Luo Xiaobai said helplessly, just learn the healing technique as soon as possible. If I've guessed correctly, our last few games will be difficult to fight. At this time, Xiao Zhan suddenly appeared from nowhere. Given that you are fighting without any organization in the arena, from this very day, you can only use 70% of your strength. Don't use your full strength unless in a critical moment. Then he strolled away, leaving them standing on the spot dumbfounded. Le Renquang broke the silence. So, that's why the president gave Han Fei the healing technique. Zhang Xuanyu took a deep breath. I've got a bad feeling. Sha Xiaochen frowned. 70%. That's barely enough. Han Fei kissed the jade slip. A spirit gatherer is really a good job. In the future, let me comfort your injured heart. Everyone. Sha Xiaochen shot him another cold glare. Just go do your FC King cultivation. Han Fei quickly ran away. In the treehouse, he carefully read the contents of the jade slip. The healing technique seemed to be more difficult than the water control technique. Take the sheen of spiritual energy instead of the spiritual energy itself. Han Fei was stunned and blinked. And then a series of data appeared. Healing technique, spirit level, high quality. U003C remarks U003E spiritual energy has a sheen, which is called a divine healing sheen. As the foundation for recovery, it can nurture all creatures on earth. U003C deduction U003E divine healing technique, consumes 100,000 points of spiritual energy. Deduce or not, Han Fei had been accustomed to the habit of the demon purification pot. However, 100,000 points of spiritual energy was not too much. Compared to the fourth level of void fishing which required 10 million points of spiritual energy to deduce, it was simply too cheap. Deduce. At this moment, Sha Xiaochen stuck her head out of her treehouse, her face full of curiosity. Why was there suddenly such strong spiritual energy here? Luo Xiaobai glared at her. Xiaochen, don't disturb his cultivation. Sha Xiaochen muttered under her breath, humph. The next morning, they found that Han Fei was gone. When they found him again, he was cutting himself with a dagger. Zhang Xuanyu rubbed his hands and said slyly, phew, Fei Fei. What are you doing? Do you want me to help you? Han Fei smiled. Come on, stab me. Zhang Xuanyu chuckled. What kind of demand is this? Stab him. Fine, I'd like to meet your demand then. However, Zhang Xuanyu was about to take the dagger when Han Fei slashed him and left a big cut in his arm. Ouch, you're so mean. Han Fei laughed. Haha, don't move. Han Fei's hand suddenly flashed with a flickering gleam of light, which Han Fei tried to throw out but failed. Zhang Xuanyu was helpless. Are you okay? If you haven't mastered it, take your time to practice it, okay? In the end, Han Fei could only press his palm on Zhang Xuanyu's arm, and it took him several minutes to heal the wound. Luo Xiaobai was curious. It took you 3 minutes to completely cure the skin trauma. This speed is a bit slow. It seems that you still have to practice more. Han Fei chuckled. Haha, when I master this technique, I'll open your eyes. Han Fei secretly snorted. Come on, I've learned it overnight. How could you say I've learned it too slowly? Bai Kongye squatted in the grass in the near distance wondering about the healing technique. As far as he knew, the sheen should enter the human body in a wisp, but why did he see the sheen come out in a large mass when Han Fei used the technique? Blue Sea Arena. Since Han Fei defeated the first academy team, the thug legend seemed to suddenly become weaker. Some people speculated that was because their enemies had become stronger. Now, only advanced great fishing masters dared to fight them. On the first day, They fought 3 games and Zhang Xuanyu and Luo Xiaobai were injured and they won by a narrow margin. It was not that they were not strong, but after suppressing a portion of their strength, they had to be very careful both in the output of spiritual energy and the use of combat skills. The next day, they fought 2 games. Zhang Xuanyu, Luo Xiaobai, and Le Renquang were all injured and they won by a narrow margin again. On the 5th day, the Thug Legend had a 68-game winning streak, and Sha Xiaochen was injured because they met 2 peak-level great fishing masters. On this day, the Thug Legend only fought 1 game. On the 10th day, the Thugs claimed an 82-game winning streak. All but Han Fei were injured. Among them, Zhang Xuanyu and Luo Xiaobai were the most seriously injured, and their organs were somewhat damaged. Zhang Xuanyu wailed, be gentle, it hurts. Han Fei, have you really mastered the healing technique? Han Fei sprinkled the energy like rain. As he waved, a rain of sheen was sprinkled on their wounds that was immediately painful and itchy. That was really suffering. Now they just hoped Han Fei could master the healing technique as soon as possible. However, they didn't know that it was thanks to Han Fei's healing that they became energetic the next day. Normally, the effect of the healing technique wouldn't be so strong. On this day, Xiao Zhan appeared again. He looked at the crowd and said, except for Han Fei, other people can use 80% of their combat power. Half a month later, the Thug Legend team had won 88 games in a row. Yes, 5 days had passed but they only fought 6 games. Although they won all the games, except for Han Fei, the others were almost injured every day. But their gains were rich. Both Luo Xiaobai and Le Renquang broke through to be intermediate great fishing masters, and Zhang Xuanyu also made a small breakthrough. 26 days later, the Thug Legend claimed the 99th victory in a row. Han Fei was injured once but not seriously. He was allowed to use 80% of his strength and the others were allowed 90%. Zhang Xuanyu had become a peak-level junior great fishing master. This cultivation speed was really fast. Of course, during this period of time, Zhang Xuanyu was injured the most. Because of him, Han Fei's divine healing technique advanced by leaps and bounds. Now he just waved his hand and a rain of sheen fell on Zhang Xuanyu. In less than 1 minute, the trauma was all cured, but the internal injury would take longer. Depending on the severity of injuries, it would take 1 hour at most and half an hour at least to cure any internal injuries. Zhang Xuanyu shook his arm. This is the last game. Can we use our full strength? Luo Xiaobai hesitated. It depends. I have a feeling that this game will not be easy to win. To be on the safe side, you, Le Renquang, and I will fight all out. Xiao Chan 90%, and Han Fei 80%. Han Fei said casually, it's the last game anyway. Let's just play to the score. If necessary, then try our best. If it endangers our lives, then use our trump card combat skills. After all, it's after using them that we learn them. Sha Xiaochen shot back, you haven't mastered your trump card combat skill. You are too slow. Han Fei smiled. When the game is over, I'll go find some materials and build some knives. I will definitely practice the million knife art. On this day, the Fish Dragon Hot Pot restaurants offered a 50% discount to celebrate the 100th battle of the Thug Legend. On this day, the Blue Sea Arena was overcrowded, and even the aisles were full of people. Also on this day, thousands of students from the 3 academies rushed into the Blue Sea Arena, waiting to witness the failure of the Thug Legend's 100-game winning streak plan. If they lost today, they had to start all over. Was it really easy to start from scratch? Once they lost this game, all they did before would be meaningless. Backstage, Luo Xiaobai was ready for a pep talk. We must win this game. We already know the other party's information, a perfect combination, 2 peak-level great fishing masters, 3 advanced great fishing masters, all in the top 100 list. If necessary, try your best. Chapter 171 A Strong Enemy. Chapter 171 A Strong Enemy. When the players from both sides stood in the arena, a wave of cheering broke out from the crowd. The average audience hadn't realized what happened yet, but the students of the 3 colleges almost went crazy. Oh my god, Su Yebai, the 8th in the top 100. It's said that he once slaughtered a whole team by himself, and I also heard that he once explored a certain seabed relic by himself and came back safely. He Xiao Yu and the others turned pale. How could their opponent in the 100th game be so strong? Sha Wuchuang yelled, Su Yebai must be the captain. Oh, Qin Yu is also here. Chen Qing was not from the First Academy, so he asked, who is Qin Yu? Wang Baiyu explained, the 33rd hunter in the top 100 list. She is very strong and just as violent as Sha Xiaochen. He Xiao Yu pointed at another person. It's not just Qin Yu. Xie Shan is also here. He is ranked 41st in the top 100. Shang Nan took a look. That thin man, is he an armorist? No, he is a soul warrior. Shang Nan was shocked. He is so thin. Are you sure he is a soul warrior? He Xiao Yu said somewhat enviously, it is said that he was a born soul warrior. He has an exotic spiritual beast red sword finned fish that is covered with knives all over. He has another name in the First Academy. Knife King. In the stands, the host introduced the remaining two people. One was Zhou Yu, an armorist, the 49th in the top 100. The other was Yun Qi. Just like Han Fei, he was both a spirit gatherer and a soul warrior and ranked the 69th in the top 100. In the arena, Luo Xiaobai frowned. I will try out Su Yebai. Xiaochen, can you handle their hunter? Sha Xiaochen shook her ponytail. Leave him to me. Although he ranks the 33rd in the top 100 list, so what? The top 100 list is not a show of strength. Han Fei said with a smile, they found a spirit gatherer just like me. He is also both a spirit gatherer and a soul warrior. He doesn't seem weak. Luo Xiaobai agreed. Don't underestimate your opponent. Don't forget, they are advanced great fishing masters. Han Fei grinned. Walk another's path and give them no way out. That's my way. Everyone. Zhang Xuanyu sweated a little. Their soul warrior is very strong. Leave this guy to me, but I won't be able to help you guys. Le Renquang looked serious. This time, I'll stay by Xiaobai's side. When the atmosphere on the scene reached its climax, the host shouted, the game begins. Fuse. Everyone immediately fused with their spiritual beasts, except for two. One was Su Yebai. He summoned a large spider that was 7 or 8 meters in length. The audience gasped. Evernight black spider. Also rising from the ground was a big blue flower. Although it had fused with Luo Xiaobai, its blue phantom looked real. The captains of the two sides immediately summoned their spiritual beasts. This scene alone shocked many people. They had never seen these exotic spiritual beasts. Before any side launched an attack, the ground had cracked. Thousands of vines were entwined with the extremely imperceptible spider silk. Before anyone moved, a lot of vines had been shattered, so had spider silk. The captain of the team of the First Academy, Su Yebai, smiled. At the next moment, a giant net fell from the sky and covered the entire arena. Shadowless blade. Sha Xiaochen attacked and suddenly there were countless shadow blades flickering around the big net and cutting the net into pieces in a blink of an eye. The hunter, Qin Yu, looked at Sha Xiaochen. I wonder if your shadow shrimp is stronger than my ghost shrimp. Then Qin Yu turned into a phantom visible to the naked eye. It floated in the air and headed straight towards Sha Xiaochen. When Sha Xiaochen hacked at the phantom, everyone was shocked to find that the blade cut through its body, but could not hurt it at all. Shadow twining technique. Sha Xiaochen turned into a shadow casually. Instead of attacking Qin Yu, she shot hundreds of shadow knives at Qin Yu's shadow. Qin Yu's face changed slightly, but her phantom suddenly grabbed at Sha Xiaochen. It was like it was going to catch Sha Xiaochen's soul instead of her shadow. Xie Shan, the soul warrior of the First Academy team who was as sturdy as a meat shield, said with a ferocious smile, you seem to be much stronger than I expected. However, what makes you think that you, junior great fishing masters, can block us? Aren't you a bit naive? Xie Shan roared, and numerous sword-like thorns grew on his body. Around his body, there were hundreds of small swords floating. Zhang Xuanyu frowned. Han Fei. A spirit-gathering circle immediately appeared under Han Fei's feet, and waves of spiritual energy poured into Zhang Xuanyu's body. The latter roared and raging waves appeared in the arena. Zhang Xuanyu stood on the top of the waves. Then a bloody big shark that was as long as 7 or 8 meters suddenly appeared. Its sharp teeth and ferocious face scared many in the audience. Someone was surprised. What kind of spiritual beast is this? How come I haven't seen Zhang Xuanyu use it before? Nonsense, it's certainly because his opponent is too strong this time. Zhang Xuanyu stuck out his rod from the seawater, and a large, long rod tens of meters long shot up into the sky and then waved down quickly. The visual effect of his combat skills was far better than Xie Shan imagined. However, at the same time, hundreds of sword blades converged and rotated and soon shattered this big rod. Zhang Xuanyu shouted, "Spirit explosion!" As soon as he shouted, spider silk struck in all directions. Luo Xiaobai immediately tried to block it for Zhang Xuanyu. However, the spider silk pierced through the vines. Han Fei threw out his double knives. Rotating blade. The two knives circled very quickly, cutting off the spider silk. The opponent's spirit gatherer, Yun Qi, sneered. "How dare you get distracted to help teammates when you're fighting me?" Blaze rays. Han Fei remembered that Yun Qi's spiritual beast was a fire krill, which, somewhat like He Xiaoyu's Little Red, was also a fire-type spiritual beast. However, it seemed much stronger than Little Red in attack power. Flames spread on the entwined spider silk. Then an eerie scene appeared in the entire arena, where thousands of flaming spider webs crazily attacked the blue vines. Han Fei sprinted directly at his opponents while his Sven Star chains swept behind him, shattering all obstacles along the way. Tortoise shell armor. As the opponent's armorist shouted, the 5 of the other team were all covered with a layer of armor. Han Fei gave Le Renquang a look of reproach. Why did their armorist give them armor? Why can't you? Le Renquang was helpless. I myself don't even have armor. But I have violent war body. Then, Le Renquang shouted. Violent war body, protect us. The bodies of Han Fei and the others burst into a golden light and their defense power seemed to be strengthened a bit. In another corner with Sha Xiaochen and Qin Yu, one was a phantom and the other was a shadow. Neither of them could beat the other. The first blows of Zhang Xuanyu and Xie Shan directly shattered a radius of 10 meters. At the place their blows collided, a big pit appeared. Zhang Xuanyu was sent flying and caught by the vines, bleeding at the corners of his mouth and his hand. This was just the beginning of the battle, and the entire arena was covered by a variety of combat skills. The flames were burning, the waves were surging, the light and shadows were fighting, and the vines and spider silk were attacking each other. Le Renquang cried, "Bloodthirsty broadsword." Le Renquang threw a knife at Su Yebai, the captain of the First Academy team. The opponent's armorist was angry. "Do you think I don't exist?" Tortoise shell shield. Bam! Le Renquang was shocked, and it was for the first time that the bloodthirsty broadsword was blocked. He vomited a mouthful of blood immediately. Once the bloodthirsty broadsword was activated, the broadsword wouldn't return unless it drank blood. Zhou Yu also frowned. 3 cracks appeared on the tortoise shell shield. Once his weapon was damaged, he would be damaged too. Zhou Yu also spewed out blood. Their first confrontation was 2 draws and 1 loss, which showed the strength of the team of the First Academy. Han Fei sent some spiritual energy into Le Renquang's body, and Su Yebai also sent some into Zhou Yu's body. Han Fei smiled. "Are you sure you let me in?" Han Fei had swept past the others and rushed towards the enemies. Yun Qi sneered. "You won't be able to return. Retreat." Yun Qi, Zhou Yu, Qin Yu, and Xie Shan were suddenly pulled out of the battle. In mid-air, the 4 of them suddenly pounced at Han Fei all out. Chapter 172 Han Fei Goes Ballistic. Chapter 172 Han Fei Goes Ballistic. Han Fei was stunned. "Come on, the 4 of you are ganging up on me. Don't you feel ashamed?" Su Yebai smiled coldly. "I know that you have a very strong defense power, so we've been waiting for you to come close." They retreated so quickly that the Thug Legend team hadn't even realized what happened, and Han Fei was exposed to their violent attacks at the same time. Qin Yu launched a spiritual energy explosion, Zhou Yu activated Tortoise Impact, Yun Qi thrust his long stick at him, and Xie Shan shot all his knives at him. Le Renquang was stunned and scratched his head. What did they think? Luo Xiaobai froze for a second and shouted, "Target, Su Yebai." Sha Xiaochen rushed forward as fast as lightning, and Zhang Xuanyu's eyes turned white and launched a soul impact at Su Yebai's brain. Su Yebai's face changed greatly. Why did the other 4 of the Thug Legend team not worry about Han Fei at all? Either Han Fei has power I don't know of, or Han Fei is able to defeat the four of us alone, so they don't need to worry about him at all. Su Yebai shouted, "Retreat, million spider blood poison." Su Yebai immediately tried to make up for his mistake. The four of the other party had pounced at him, so he had to use all his strength. The vines were withering away. Sha Shaochen threw out the daggers in her hand because the black spider poison had covered her daggers in the air. Le Renquang's blade storm was the strongest one, directly crushing all the spider silk in front of Su Yebai and even breaking the tortoiseshell armor. When the victory was coming, a huge black conch suddenly appeared, blocking the blade storm. Han Fei sneered, "In my waters, how can you help others?" Yes, at the moment when the four people besieged him, Han Fei had raised a water wall around and waved the 7-star chain. Han Fei, like a loach, shuttled between the four of them. The double knives danced like a roaming spiritual snake in his hand. Obviously, he wielded his knives much more proficiently than Qin Yu. The sword-covered Xie Shan suddenly rammed at Han Fei like a heavy mountain. To his surprise, however, Han Fei covered himself with a spiritual energy protective cover and collided head-on with him. Bam! The water walls were exploded with a loud thud. Apart from Qin Yu, Zhou Yu and Yun Qi flew out directly. Han Fei was extremely fast and turned into a shadow. And in the next second, Xie Shan, who had just beaten Zhang Xuanyu, was sent flying through the air. Bam! 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 Han Fei's double fists flashed with lightning arcs. He punched out and his body almost bursting with spiritual energy. The sharp spikes on Xie Shan's body were broken one by one. Since he was caught by Han Fei, he had no chance to escape. Crack! Crack! Some spikes were even directly broken by Han Fei with his fingers. When swords hit Han Fei's hands, clanking sounds were heard. Of course, the attacks were not completely ineffective. Xie Shan seemed to know that he could not escape and kept attacking with all his strength, and Han Fei's body was streaked with blood. But Xie Shan was even worse. His arms had been broken by Han Fei and the spikes on his chest were all shattered. Now his chest was stained with blood and he kept spewing out blood. Tortoise protection. Zhou Yu reacted very quickly, so shields appeared on Xie Shan's body one layer after another for armor. But Han Fei didn't fear this at all. He launched a series of attacks at the armor, which was shattered one layer after another, and in the end, Xie Shan was thrown into the sky by Han Fei. Universe Broadsword. A broadsword came out into the sky. In a blink of an eye, the 7 layers of shield armor were completely broken, and Xie Shan was penetrated and fell heavily on the ground, not moving at all. Many people in the First Academy stood up and watched this scene in shock. Han Fei, is this spirit gatherer so strong? Han Fei looked a bit pale. After all, Xie Shan was an advanced great fishing master, who was at least 3 levels higher than Han Fei. However, Han Fei tried his best to get rid of Xie Shan so that Zhang Xuanyu could assist them, and then they would immediately take the upper hand. The teachers of the First Academy went pale. In their opinion, Han Fei was strong but lacked speed and combat skills, so they ranked him the 4th in the Thug Legend team. In their minds, the first was Sha Shaochen, the second was Luo Xiaobai, and the third was Le Renquang. But now, they found that they made a big mistake. Han Fei was literally AFC King Monster. The 4 ganged up on Han Fei but were defeated and one of them was even killed. The audience was in an uproar. What is this? The advanced great fishing masters can't break Han Fei's defense. All they could do was to give him some skin trauma. Was Han Fei really a human being? At the next moment, Su Yebai shouted, "Zhou Yu, block Han Fei, and the others retreat." On the other side, Le Renquang handed 2 brand new daggers to Sha Shaochen, and the latter's eyes turned cold as she thought, use poison. Giant arowana. At this moment, while many people were still shocked by Han Fei's strength, a golden, shining fish with a length of 10 meters or more appeared. Wow, what fish was this? Almost everyone was stunned. I've never seen this fish. What kind of fish is this? Suddenly, a teacher from the Second Academy exclaimed, a second spiritual beast. The audience was even more shocked. A second spiritual beast? Are you kidding me? Roar. Even Sha Shaochen herself didn't know what kind of a fish this was. All she knew was that it had some heritage of dragons. As the big fish opened his mouth and roared, a gust of wind rose and dragon howling shocked the entire Blue Sea arena. Outside the arena, the mayor and the presidents of the 3 academies all rushed over. They felt something was wrong. As soon as the giant arowana roared, everyone's tortoise-shell armor was shattered. Because it was an indiscriminate attack, even Li Renquang and Zhang Xuanyu spat out a mouthful of blood. Blood oozed out of Luo Xiaobai's mouth, and she took advantage of this opportunity to shoot out vines and break through the layers of spider silk. Fuse. Su Yebai, who was bleeding from his nose and mouth, finally chose to fuse with his spiritual beast. 7 or 8 sharp claws about 3 meters long suddenly grew out of his back. He moved fast and quickly dodged to the side. Qin Yu's phantom was shattered by the roar of the giant arowana. When she returned to her human state, she lay on the ground and coughed up blood. Yun Qi supplemented Su Yebai's spiritual energy and activated the healing technique. A big sword flew from Zhou Yu's side and he quickly pounced at Luo Xiaobai. He gave up attacking Sha Xiaochen and Han Fei because he didn't think he could beat the two, but Luo Xiaobai was busy attacking and didn't notice him. Qi and blood burn. Raging sea spirit strike. Zhang Xuanyu, who kept spewing blood, gritted his teeth and launched a soul attack at Yun Qi. When he saw Yun Qi pause, he swung his rod at him. Bam! Zhang Xuanyu suddenly stumbled. He was too close to Sha Xiaochen just now and was almost crushed by the roar of the giant arowana. Zhang Xuanyu shouted, "Han Fei, help!" Han Fei frowned, looking at Zhou Yu, who was blocking him. Scar of War Shadows. Zhou Yu almost vomited blood. "Come on, not again. My body is not as sturdy as yours." In an instant, Zhou Yu put multiple layers of tortoise-shell shields to his body and braced himself to collide with Han Fei. Bam! Han Fei was sent flying and Zhou Yu's body shield shattered. He half knelt on the ground, panting heavily. But before he could stand up, Han Fei shouted again, "Scar of War Shadows." Zhou Yu, this big fatty, felt very aggrieved. Did this guy have endless power and spiritual energy? How many times was this? This time, Zhou Yu failed to block it and his shield was all broken, and Han Fei ran away. Seeing this scene, Yun Qi frowned. He couldn't believe Zhou Yu couldn't even block Han Fei. At the next moment, a rain of sheen sprinkled on Zhang Xuanyu, who gave a shiver and then waved his big rod. Su Yebai knew he had to rely on himself now. None of his teammates could come to help him. All this was because he made the wrong decision to besiege Han Fei. Countless spider silks shot out of Su Yebai's body. No matter what, he must get rid of Sha Xiaochen first. This woman was too strong for him to resist. Sha Xiaochen sneered. Seeing the spider silk darting at her, she didn't even use the giant arowana but directly turned into a shadow and rushed to Su Yebai. Poison explosion. Han Fei yelled, "Hurry up, retreat." Flop. Sha Xiaochen fell to the ground, her face purple. What is this poison? Can it even poison my shadow? After falling to the ground, Sha Xiaochen's breath was unsteady and her body was faintly red. Han Fei frowned. Not good. What if she goes crazy here? Han Fei's eyes immediately turned red. Little bastard, today I'm gonna spank you. Chapter 173, 100 game winning streak. Chapter 173, 100 game winning streak. Han Fei was angry. Although Sha Xiaochen often slashed him, that was just horseplay between classmates. He certainly wouldn't allow outsiders to bully her. More importantly, if Sha Xiaochen went crazy now, with so many people present, what if she killed dozens of people? Then how could they clear up the mess? Han Fei stepped into the air, used the divine healing technique on Sha Xiaochen, and at the same time, shot a green fruit at Sha Xiaochen. Han Fei shouted, "Detoxify." Then, 7 chains shot out from all sides. Han Fei roared, "7-star chain." Clang. Su Yebai tried to use his claws to block the chains, but he got entangled as soon as they approached. But Han Fei secretly sighed. Su Yebai had 8 claws, but 9 tails now only had 7 tails and couldn't entangle him completely. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to even move. Su Yebai was startled. What the hell was this? Were the chains alive? Where did they connect to? Seeing Han Fei rushing up to him, he shouted, "Attach." Han Fei scoffed. Does he think he can block me with a contractual spiritual beast? In the chaos, Han Fei held a small seal in his hand. He had never used this little seal. He didn't want to use it, but now he was very angry. How dare this guy poison Sha Xiaochen like that? Bam! Su Yebai just saw that as Han Fei punched, a big seal appeared in the sky. In the next moment, Su Yebai was smashed to the ground like a cannonball and he made a big pit in the earth. Han Fei secretly put the water-stirring seal into Forge the Universe, thinking to himself, no one has seen it. The seal is so small and I can hold it in my hand. Now except for Yunqi who was still fighting Zhang Xuanyu, the team members of the First Academy were all solved. Han Fei immediately looked at Yunqi. The latter raised his eyebrows, swept Zhang Xuanyu away with his sword, and jumped backward. I admit defeat. Yunqi was not a fool. He would at most tie with Zhang Xuanyu. His teammates were all knocked down, and Han Fei alone beat the three of them. He had no other choice now. The host stammered, admit defeat. Wow, what an earth-shaking feat. The Thug Legend has completed their quest. In nearly 30 years, they have completed the 100-game winning streak in the Blue Sea Arena for the first time. This is a miracle, a memorable event. It's worth a good cheer, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. In the deafening cheers, Han Fei and the others crowded beside Luo Xiaobai. At this moment, Sha Xiaochen looked much better. She looked at Han Fei and complained, I didn't know that he was so poisonous. Han Fei was relieved. It's all right, but unfortunately, your giant arowana has been exposed. Sha Xiaochen shrugged. It's okay. It's not in the city anyway, don't worry. Han Fei hesitated. Then just now, Sha Xiaochen pursed her lips and shook her head slightly. It's okay. It's over. Han Fei took a breath of relief. As long as she didn't get crazy. Otherwise, God knew what would happen. In the arena, people were throwing mid-quality pearls about like crazy. When the team of the First Academy showed up, countless people bet on them winning. But who knew the Thug Legend team would still win? Those who won were throwing their pearls about in excitement. Someone exclaimed, that's a miracle. 100-game winning streak in the Blue Sea Arena is a miracle. Some people agreed. The Thug Legend team is really strong. Han Fei seems not tired at all, so does Zhang Xuanyu. Luo Xiaobai didn't even summon her blue cannibal flower, and Le Renquang didn't activate his violent war body either. That's absolutely a crushing defeat for the First Academy. Compared with the excited audience, the people from the three academies were not that happy. Many students who came to watch the game were stunned. Su Yebai, the 8th in the top 100 list, a manipulator who was nearly invincible, was defeated. He was slapped to the ground by Han Fei. At the moment, the First Academy people were trying their best to save these people's lives, and various healing techniques were thrown at them. When they took Su Yebai out of the pit, all his limbs had been broken, so were half of his ribs. The spirit gatherers who were treating them were all shocked. How much strength did Han Fei use in the final blow? Many people from the First Academy clenched their fists. This was a disgrace. A student said, they made a mistake in command. They shouldn't have besieged Han Fei. That guy is literally a humanoid weapon and is almost invincible. Someone was angry. What combat skill did Han Fei use in his last blow? What is that sealed phantom? How can it be so strong? In the crowd, He Xiaoyu, Wang Baiyu, Shang Nan, Sha Wushuang and the others were bending over the railing stunned. Sha Xiaochen once said that when Han Fei entered the Fourth Academy, he was required to insist on 5 minutes under the siege of the four of them. Now it seemed that Han Fei was much stronger than they thought. His body was abnormally strong. Shang Nan swallowed. They're all monsters. Han Fei knocked out 3 opponents alone. Sha Xiaochen's second spiritual beast is so powerful. That big fish almost killed everyone in the arena by giving a single roar. Han Fei waved his hands at the audience, so did Le Renquang. The two were very happy that they could finally stop fighting every day. The host was heard again. Look, Han Fei and Le Renquang have raised their hands happily. Let's raise our hands and sway with them. Han Fei. Han Fei looked at the host. This guy had the potential to be a DJ. If everyone held glow sticks, would he ask everyone to wave glow sticks together and dance together? The host was very excited because he had hosted the miracle of a 100-game winning streak. In the future, his name would also be written in the history of the Blue Sea Town. The host continued, during this period of time, the Thug Legend team has won one incredible battle after another. They have been injured and bled, but they have never been absent. Now tell me what led them to success. It's. The host was about to answer the question himself, but before he answered it, Han Fei shouted, the secret to success is to persevere to win. After you gain enough wins, you will succeed. The host. The audience. Le Renquang also shouted, the secret to success is to eat more, a strong body needs the support of food. In the corner of the spectator seats, Xiaozan covered his face. No, it seems that we will have to take more cultural classes in the future so they won't speak like illiterates anymore. Old Bai said angrily, humph. These little guys are so complacent. We should let them experience what failure is when they get back. In the sky, the presidents of the three academies all looked unhappy. This time, no one could stop the rise of the fourth academy. Before, the fourth academy had enrolled students, but none of them were impressive. Who knew they had recruited 5 students at a time this year? Where did they find these kids? The mayor thought to himself, although Han Fei looks very strong, he actually is strong in both defense and offense. He is a genius but not rare. But Sha Xiaochen puzzles me. He had a feeling that he had seen that big fish in an ancient book. But it was too long ago for him to remember. Han Fei and Le Renquang were still happily expressing their joy and pride on the stage and Zhang Xuanyu wanted to join them. However, Luo Xiaobai released her vines and dragged them backstage. Bao Jin led 2 rows of attendants and welcomed them in a line. Luo Xiaobai frowned. What's this for? Bao Jin gave a fawning smile. As the first team who has won a 100-game winning streak in a span of more than 30 years, we invite you to accept the honorary medal awarded by our Blue Sea Arena. This is a glorious moment and worth commemorating. Le Renquang and Zhang Xuanyu smiled. It sounds very reasonable. They shall keep the medal to brag to others in the future. Sha Xiaochen, who was still a bit feeble, said unhappily, can't there be a bonus? Tens of thousands of mid-quality pearls are much better than this. Han Fei nodded. Medal can't be sold. A bonus is more practical. Bao Jin was speechless. This is a big honor. Besides, we needed to make money, not to mention that we haven't given any bonuses before. But he immediately said, yes, you certainly should have a bonus, but not as much as tens of thousands, only 10,000 mid-quality pearls. Sha Xiaochen's eyes lit up. 10,000 each person. Bao Jin said awkwardly, 10,000 in total. Sha Xiaochen immediately lost interest. That's too little, not even enough for me to buy a suit of clothes. That said, Sha Xiaochen suddenly looked at Han Fei. You said you would make me new clothes. Han Fei blinked. Do you still remember this? I had almost forgotten. Luo Xiaobai looked at the tattered clothes on her body and frowned. We should make new clothes. When Luo Xiaobai saw the cheongsam Han Fei painted, she liked it very much. If Han Fei could make her nicer clothes, she would be very happy. Han Fei said impatiently, let's talk about it when we go back. Let's go eat hot pot first. Sha Xiaochen whined, I want new clothes. Han Fei said impatiently, go to the hot pot restaurants to get your salary first. Don't forget that you guys have a 10% share in the restaurants. With that, they walked forward. Only Zhang Xuanyu came to Bao Jin, took the medal, and stuffed it into his pocket, saying, don't forget the bonus. Send it to the 4th Academy. Bao Jin looked at these little guys and slapped his own mouth in regret. Come on, they don't lack money at all. Why did they ask me for a bonus? Is it that easy for us to make money? Chapter 174 A Friend of Girls. Chapter 174 A Friend of Girls. The Thug Academy had risen again, and countless people had gone to the school to ask if their children could enter it. Unfortunately, Xiaozan told them only geniuses who were already great fishing masters and had exotic spiritual beasts would be admitted. At this moment, Han Fei was somewhat desperate. He thought the source of happiness for Sha Xiaochen and the others was money, so he led them to go to the fish dragons to get money. Each of them got more than 8,000 mid-quality pearls and they all clamored to do shopping in the Linglong Tower. Han Fei did not want to do shopping in the Linglong Tower. It was too expensive, but the other 4 insisted. Seeing Sha Xiaochen was going to buy clothes there, Han Fei immediately said, buy cloth. Just buy cloth. Sha Xiaochen tilted her head. Han Fei, can you really make clothes? Han Fei nodded helplessly. Yes, the clothes I make will definitely be better than what you buy, and it saves money. Sha Xiaochen's eyes lit up. Really? Before Han Fei answered, Sha Xiaochen said to the shop assistant, bring all your good fabrics up. The person who received them was still that beautiful woman, Yuling. She looked at them and said, congratulations on your 100-game winning streak. Today you can enjoy a 10% discount in the Linglong Tower. Sha Xiaochen stated, we want cloth. Yuling waved her hand, and someone left. Yuling said, little brother Han Fei, can you sell us your design? I can pay you 200,000 mid-quality pearls. Wow. Zhang Xuanyu dropped the medal in his hand in shock. Le Renquang stumbled and quickly supported Zhang Xuanyu. The two girls were dumbfounded. 200,000 mid-quality pearls. If Old Bai was here, he would definitely force Han Fei to sell. Han Fei turned his eyes. Do you want us to be your image spokespersons? Don't even think about it. Yuling looked confused. Image spokesperson. This word is novel. I'm not going to sell my design. I don't want everyone to wear the same clothes as us all over the streets. Then, how can we highlight our unique temperament? Yuling. Sha Xiaochen immediately echoed. Yes, only we can wear these clothes. Le Renquang added, yes, we don't lack money. Yuling sighed slightly. These beautiful clothes would only be wasted on these little brats. And she was really surprised at the recently rising fish dragons. This gang who came from the village had a lot of money and used 200,000 miles quality pearls in one shot, knocking open the market of the Blue Sea town. In 1 month, Fish Dragon hot pot restaurants and Fish Dragon cards were widely known throughout the Blue Sea town and they earned a lot of money. It was said that they earned at least 400,000 mid-quality pearls in a month. Their ability to make money was shocking. Yuling smiled. Then if you want to find a business partner in the future, you're always welcomed in the Linglong Tower. We'd love to cooperate with you in a million pearl business. Sha Xiaochen and the others widened their eyes. A million pearl business. This number was big. Zhang Xuanyu swallowed. Is the garment industry so profitable? Is it too late to change my career? Han Fei waved his hand. No, our businesses are too small and can't afford big moves. By the way, does the Linglong Tower have any magic weapons to sell? Yuling's eyes lit up. Of course, magic weapons are on the 5th floor. Would you like to have a look? Zhang Xuanyu nodded. Yes, I haven't seen any magic weapon yet. Le Renquang agreed. Yes, how much are they? Yuling informed. Generally speaking, the prices range from 50,000 to 100,000. An ultra-quality magic weapon may cost up to 200,000 mid-quality pearls. Hearing this, they all gasped. Were they going or not? They couldn't afford it. Even if they sold the whole Fish Dragon's businesses, they could only afford a few. Luo Xiaobai looked confused. I remember the spiritual weapon only cost me 100,000 mid-quality pearls last time. The last time was an exchange. I offered an exceptionally low price to Mr. Han Fei because I wanted to cooperate with him. Normally, a spiritual weapon will cost 200,000 mid-quality pearls at least and millions of pearls sometimes. Han Fei smiled. It was really profitable. He felt that he could open a Fish Dragon blacksmith shop in the future, specializing in selling spiritual weapons, and then he would make a fortune. On the 5th floor of the Linglong Tower, everyone was almost drooling at the glittering weapons. Han Fei also fancied a bow, but when he found the price was 720,000 mid-quality pearls, he gave up immediately. This was FC King too expensive. He couldn't afford it. Yuling let them look for a few minutes before asking, are there any goods you'd like to buy? Everyone looked at Han Fei and he asked casually, what are these made of? Yuling pointed to the bow in front of Han Fei. This is forged with purple gold. But what matters is not the purple gold but the craftsmanship. In terms of purple gold alone, this bow is only worth less than 300,000 mid-quality pearls. Han Fei was shocked. The cost of materials was this expensive. Immediately, a chagrined expression appeared on his face. When he was in one of the gates of the hexagon starfish, he seemed to have seen this kind of material. At that time, he thought it was a purple gem. It turns out it was purple gold. Han Fei's face paled. I can't afford it. Gotta go. Sha Xiaochen, have you chosen your fabrics? Sha Xiaochen had given up as soon as she saw the prices. She said casually, aren't you choosing the fabrics? By the way, I want a red set, a white set, and a green set of clothes. Han Fei frowned. Why don't you just say you want all the colors? Sha Xiaochen blinked at Han Fei and asked sweetly, may I? Han Fei covered his head. You wish. Luo Xiaobai said, I want a white set of clothes, at most with a few other colors. Le Renquang said happily, I want. Han Fei quickly interrupted him, no, you don't want. Le Renquang. ... One day later, Han Fei ran out of the shut cave, holding a pile of clothes. Han Fei was a little bit tired. Do I suddenly have 2 daughters or 2 lovers? So I have to buy them beautiful clothes, beautiful headbands, beautiful hairpins, and beautiful jewelry. However, these things were easy to make. There were all kinds of gems here and black iron was not expensive, but purple gold was very expensive. Han Fei only bought a piece of purple gold of half the size of a fist, which cost him 30,000 mid-quality pearls. In order not to be disturbed by Sha Xiaochen, who always liked making sneak attacks, Han Fei specially sealed the cave. Of course, he was not just making clothes. He just threw the materials into the demon purification pot, depicted the clothes he wanted, and then the clothes were made, which wouldn't take him long. His purpose was certainly to refine magic weapons. Han Fei guessed that the second brocade sachet was much harder to get than the first one, so he needed to change his weapons. He used the purple jade and the bone of purple gold arowana he got from the hexagon starfish, but only got 2 mid-quality magic swords. Then he used the remaining materials to refine 5 palm-long magic knives in preparation for the million knife art. On the school grounds, as soon as Han Fei arrived under the treehouse, Sha Xiaochen appeared with a swoosh. Sha Xiaochen stared at the clothes in Han Fei's hands. They look nice, so colorful. 3 sets for you and 3 sets for Xiaobai. Le Renquang wailed, Han Fei, you are too much. Didn't you do 1 set for me? I am your brother. Zhang Xuanyu shouted too, Fei Fei, I'm no longer your brother. That's it. Han Fei shouted angrily, all of you, get your asses down here. You guys are not little girls. Only 1 set for each of you. Zhang Xuanyu jumped down the tree. Only 1 set, that's too little. Fei Fei, we should open a shop to sell clothes. Or, change a new set after each fight. Han Fei sneered, I'm afraid you just want new clothes to wear, right? If you can find the best materials, I'll make you a magic set of clothes. If you can't, get off my back. Le Renquang didn't mind it. As a fatty, he didn't have very high requirements for clothing. A moment later, Le Renquang jumped out of his treehouse cheerfully. Good, good, this is just right. It sets off my perfect figure perfectly. I love it. Zhang Xuanyu also came down from his treehouse. He looked very handsome and graceful in the clothes, and Han Fei also made him a fan. He smartly opened the fan with a swish and looked really charming. Then Luo Xiaobai came out. She was wearing a pure white long gown with a pink girdling and neckline and was like a little fairy, and Zhang Xuanyu almost drooled over her. Luo Xiaobai blushed. Although she was as cold as an iceberg, she was still a girl. Girls liked beautiful clothes, and Luo Xiaobai was no exception. She seemed to like her clothes very much. At this moment, Sha Xiaochen shouted, Han Fei, come in. I don't know how to wear these clothes. Everyone. Le Renquang muttered, wow, what did I just hear? Chapter 175 The Second Brocade Sash. Chapter 175 The Second Brocade Sash. Everyone looked at Han Fei with strange eyes and then at Sha Xiaochen's treehouse, swallowing saliva from time to time. Luo Xiaobai frowned slightly. Are they in love? Isn't it too early? Suddenly, he saw Sha Xiaochen pop out, wearing a white and red traditional style costume. Her upper body was dressed in white with red flower patterns on the cuffs, collar, and buttons, and her lower body was wearing a small red mini skirt, revealing her slender white legs. Zhang Xuanyu gasped, wow. Staring at Sha Xiaochen, Zhang Xuanyu patted Han Fei's arm. Fei Fei, let's open a clothing store. We can definitely be better than the Linglong Tower. We can sell the clothes for 5,000 mid-quality pearls each. Han Fei scoffed. Get lost. Zhang Xuanyu clicked his tongue. Sha Xiaochen, Why is your hair down loose? What is that thing on your head? Han Fei was helpless. This is a crested hairpin with pearl embellishments, purple gold, and gems by me. How could she just put it straight on the top of her head? Don't you have an eye for beauty? Sha Xiaochen hummed. I don't know how to wear it. Do I need to explain it to you? Han Fei, come and help me fix my hair. Everyone's eyes became strange again. Zhang Xuanyu muttered, this must not be the first time. Le Renquang nodded, definitely not. Luo Xiaobai. Zhang Xuanyu rubbed his hands. Xiaobai, do you need me to help you fix your hair? He Xiaoyu shot him with a cold glare. Get lost. Han Fei climbed into Sha Xiaochen's treehouse, asking, don't you usually fix your hair well? No, I don't know how to deal with this stuff. Sha Xiaochen fiddled with the crested hairpin, holding a bunch of red tassels in her hand. Han Fei sighed. This is not for this suit. Look what I do. I will only teach you once. After a while, Han Fei made Sha Xiaochen's long hair braided on both sides. Have you got it? Sha Xiaochen blinked. Yes. Okay, now I'll undo your braids. Hang the red tassels above your left ear and tie the two pom-poms on the end of your braids. You see, this is how you make braids. Han Fei continued. Okay, finished. Have you got it? Sha Xiaochen was stunned. Ah, yes. Then Sha Xiaochen grabbed her earlobes and said, I haven't pierced my ears. Han Fei said with a smile, then pierce them. Sha Xiaochen shook her head. No, that will hurt. I can't do it. Han Fei was helpless. You will hurt too even if I do it for you. After a moment, Sha Xiaochen's treehouse. Sha Xiaochen cried, Pooch. Han Hanfei, you're hurting me. I'm gonna kill you. Don't move. This is your first time, and of course, you'll bleed, but not again. Sha Xiaochen whined, can't you be gentle? I'm already being very gentle. If I do it more gently, I won't be able to get it in. Under the tree, the three of them widened their eyes and looked up, blinking. Zhang Xuanyu swallowed. Should we leave them alone? Le Renquang looked confused. I don't quite get it. What are they talking about? Luo Xiaobai also looked perplexed. Why is she bleeding just fixing her hair? Zhang Xuanyu was speechless. These two idiots. They simply know nothing. After a moment, Han Fei ran out and complained, I'll never ever pierce ears for girls in the future. They just keep nagging. Who? Zhang Xuanyu was shocked. Just ear piercings. Then why did you speak that way? Within half a minute, Sha Xiaochen jumped out of the treehouse and everyone widened their eyes. She had two braids, on the end of which hung two fluffy pom-poms. There was a strand of red tassels next to her left ear which went well with her red earrings. She was wearing a white top with wide sleeves and a red fringed pleated skirt. What a pretty little girl. When she jumped down, jingling sounds were heard from her wrist and head. Zhang Xuanyu glanced at Luo Xiaobai. Hey, Han Fei, why do you treat the two girls so differently? Luo Xiaobai didn't hear what Zhang Xuanyu said and stepped forward curiously. Xiaochen, what are you wearing on your hand? Sha Xiaochen grinned. A bracelet, a little bell bracelet. Were the red earrings also made by Han Fei? Yes. Didn't he make some for you? Huh, Xiaobai, your white clothes look really beautiful. But Luo Xiaobai turned to Han Fei and extended her hand. A small bell bracelet please. Han Fei. Han Fei was helpless. You two have different temperaments. That bracelet doesn't suit you. It doesn't go with your cold, aloof temperament. Don't point your finger at me. Do you want an anklet? Anklet. Han Fei took out a delicate anklet. This was prepared for Sha Xiaochen, but since Sha Xiaochen was an ADHD patient, she would probably break the anklet in minutes. But this wouldn't happen to Luo Xiaobai, so he fastened the anklet to one of her feet. As soon as she walked, the anklet jingled. Sha Xiaochen was now pouting too. Where is mine? You don't need it. You'd break it in a minute. Zhang Xuanyu and Le Renquang exchanged a sad glance with each other. Can't we have bells? In order to go with these guys, Han Fei also put on a traditional style set of clothes. When the five of them stood together in their new clothes, they were sure to turn heads. Thud. 3 figures appeared in the sky and landed. Xiao Zhan held a brocade sachet in his hand but stared at the 5 of them, stunned. Wenren Yu rushed forward. Where did you buy these clothes, Xiaochen and Xiaobai? How much are they? Which famous designer made them? Luo Xiaobai said flatly. Han Fei made them. Sha Xiaochen asked, Ms. Wenren, what do you think of my clothes? Sha Xiaochen jingled the bracelet she just got in front of Wenren Yu. Wenren Yu pushed her hand aside and walked straight to Han Fei. Can you make clothes and jewelry? Han Fei had a bad hunch as he responded nervously, haha, a little, just a little. Wenren Yu raised her eyebrows. What kind of clothes do you think suit me? Do you think black suits me? But it can't be pure black, it's too serious. How about mixing some red? Cough, cough. Ms. Wenren, what are you doing? Old Bai cut her off. Wenren Yu finally remembered why she came here. She gave Han Fei a deep look before standing back. Xiao Zhan smiled. He had never seen such maverick students before. Interesting. Xiao Zhan gave them a proud look. Given that you have accomplished a 100-game winning streak in the Blue Sea Arena, now you are eligible to get the second brocade sachet. However, you still have many shortcomings. For example, Sha Xiaochen, in the last game, since you've summoned your giant arowana, why did you still have to fight the other side in the close quarters? As a result, you got poisoned and almost fell down the stage. Isn't that disgraceful? And you, Zhang Xuanyu, you even tied with a spirit gatherer. I really feel ashamed for you. Zhang Xuanyu shot back. He was also a soul warrior. And, he is an advanced fishing master, okay. Xiao Zhan scoffed. How dare you talk back? Why don't you ask yourself why you are so weak? Xiao Zhan turned back to them all. This time, your performance can only be considered average. Only one of the top 10 students from the 3 academies came. What if the other team was all made up of the top students? Then what would your chance of winning be? It'll be 50% at most. How can you sweep the 36 towns with such strength? Blah, blah. Xiao Zhan kept on saying that he was tired, so he looked at Old Bai and asked, say something to them. Old Bai nodded and said, since you won, you won. It's not FC King worth mentioning. Now I will ask you a few questions. Chapter 176 Realm Weapon Combat Skill. Chapter 176 Realm Weapon Combat Skill. Old Bai raised a finger and took 2 steps forward. The first question, have you ever studied your spiritual beasts carefully? Han Fei and the others were all surprised. What kind of problem is this? Of course, we've studied them. Old White Man sneered. What you did cannot be considered studying. For example, Sha Xiaochen didn't know what her giant arowana was capable of, and Le Renquang doesn't know how to make use of his spiritual beast, spiritual clam. How can you be called geniuses if you can't even master your spiritual beasts? Without giving them the opportunity to refute, Old Bai continued, as you're getting increasingly stronger, the demonic fish in the sea will also become smarter and smarter. Guess whether or not you can still catch fish then. If it's getting more and more difficult to fish, what kind of path will fishers take? Hearing his words, everyone pondered. None of them had considered this issue before. In their opinion, fish are so silly. Just fish for them with bait. Luo Xiaobai questioned, in addition to fishing, is there any other way? Ho ho, you are fishing with your hands, and most of what you catch is only ordinary demonic fish. But some people don't need bait. They can easily get to the purple gold mine 100 miles away merely by casually waving their fishing hooks. How do you think they managed to do it? Han Fei and the others were shocked. Can a mine be fished? How? It's not even a living creature. Old Bai added, I said this just to make you think about it. Old Bai continued, the third question, have you ever wondered, which is counted as the starting point of cultivation for a great fishing master or dangling fisher? Zhang Xuanyu questioned, isn't a fishing master the starting point of cultivation? Le Renquang added, yes. A fishing master can practice combat skills, higher techniques, and even secret skills. Old Bai stroked his long beard and sneered, a fishing master is nothing. Ms. Wenren, explain it to them. Wenren Yu stood up and smiled. Do you know why you didn't even know other realms above great fishing masters and dangling fisher before? Maybe you have heard of hanging fisher, hidden fisher, or something like that. But it was just hearsay. That's because your knowledge determines your vision. Wenren Yu's face suddenly turned serious. Fishermen and fishing masters are at the bottom of this world. In their lives, they don't need to know anything but living and fishing. Above fishing masters, there are great fishing masters, dangling fisher, hanging fisher, hidden fisher, law enforcer, and explorers, etc., above which, there are also venerable level masters. Why are they graded this way? Luo Xiaobai asked. Great fishing masters are only a transitional stage, and cannot be counted as a real cultivator. Only when you become a dangling fisher can you really embark on the path of cultivation. And fishers won't just catch demonic fishes. By the time you're strong enough, you will know this naturally. As for dangling fishers, as the name indicates, some of them can stand in midair, for example, the angels who once visited your village. They have wings on their backs, and some of them are hanging fishers and some are hidden fishers. After hearing what Wenren Yu had said, Han Fei concluded. Fishing masters and great fishing masters, they are at the bottom of the cultivation world and mainly responsible for teaching ordinary students and fishermen in the villages. A dangling fisher, they've just discovered the true meaning of fishing. A hanging fisher, they already have the ability to fly in the air and dive under the ocean, but not strong enough to transcend fishing itself. A hidden fisher, they have mastered superhuman skills. As the main force to explore the known sea area, they are able to explore the remains, dig up treasures, and look for mysterious resources from the ocean. A law enforcer, they are very strong and usually serve as leaders. Wenren Yu didn't tell them exactly what kinds of leaders they served as, nor did anyone know. An explorer, they are the most mysterious. The known sea can no longer satisfy them. They will explore the unknown ocean, where it is full of adventures and dangers. Everything in the unknown sea is mysterious. Only when you become an explorer will you be eligible to move on. As for the venerable level masters, Wenren Yu didn't say much about them. Obviously, they were a bit too far away from her. So, after hearing what she said, what they were thinking of was not those unreachable realms, but instead she asked, what kind of a cultivation path is fishing? A kit was thrown to them. They opened it and found 3 messages. First, explore how to make use of spiritual beasts in actual combat. Second, understand the true meaning of fishing. And then they were stunned to find that the 3rd message was empty. But Wenren Yu pointed to the kit in the hands of Xiaozan. You'll know the answer when you get the 6th kit. If you can't get it, then just graduate from school. There is no need for you to know so much. Even if you get to know it, it won't do you any good but make you expendable among fishing cultivators. At this moment, everyone was a bit excited. Nobody told them about these things before. Even their village leaders didn't know this. Whom else could they ask? Now learning the secrets about different realms, they were very excited. In their eyes, every realm that Old Bai mentioned could not be easily achieved. Only after becoming a dangling fisher could they know the first secret of this world, which was only the first one. Han Fei suddenly asked, Teacher, can you tell us about weapons? I heard that there are magic weapons and spiritual weapons in the Linglong Tower, but why don't I see anyone using them? Wenren Yu sneered, can you afford them? Han Fei muttered, well, I can only afford a few. Wow, both Wenren Yu and Xiaozan turned green. What? Wenren Yu asked again, do you know that a high-quality spiritual weapon will cost millions of mid-quality pearls? Can you afford that? At least we should know about them if we meet them in the future. Han Fei shot back. Wenren Yu shook her head helplessly. The magic weapons are much stronger than ordinary ones. High-quality and ultra-quality magic weapons are very powerful. For example, a great fishing master with the same level as you may break your defense if he uses a magic weapon. If he is an advanced or peak-level great fishing master, he should be barely able to pierce your body if he uses a magic weapon. Gosh, everyone gasped. Pierced Han Fei's body? Seriously? Sha Xiaochun's eyes suddenly lit up. How can I get a magic weapon? Han Fei, lend me some money. I want to buy 2 magic daggers. Han Fei rolled his eyes. You wish. Then you can stab me with them, right? Don't even think about it. No money. Humph. Han Fei asked further, what about spiritual weapons? Wenren Yu looked at Han Fei up and down. Spiritual weapons can easily pierce your body. Moreover, they have awareness. They will recognize a master. The master can sense his own spiritual weapon thousands of miles away, unless the connection between the spiritual weapon and its master is cut off. For example, when the spiritual weapon is put in a small space such as sea-swallowing seashell. What about above spiritual weapons? Wenren Yu said impatiently, are you through? Above spiritual weapons are legendary or treasure weapons. There are few people who have seen them. Han Fei smiled and scratched his already deflated belly. I've got 3 magic weapons in my hand. But that's not enough. I have to find a way to get a spiritual weapon as my ace in the hole. Wenren Yu continued, usually, if you are still fishers, you won't be able to get any combat skills or weapons. When you become fishing masters, generally you'll only get some low-level combat skills. And when you become great fishing masters, as you see, there are countless combat skills in our academy. The highest level one is even heaven level, which is beyond the reach of the other 3 academies. Wenren Yu's face turned serious. And, what I must tell you is to not rely too much on combat skills. Combat skills are just a means of combat. When you are fighting, the situation changes rapidly, and sometimes low-level combat skills may even be more effective than the heaven-level ones. Everyone was shocked, but who doesn't want higher-level combat skills? Luo Xiaobai muttered, mortal level, mystic level, spirit level, demon level, heaven level. And even higher. Higher. It's okay to tell you. Maybe you will have some special chances in the future. Above the heaven level, it is the venerable level, but those are very rare. Even in the city, ordinary heavenly talents can only get heaven-level combat skills and very few of them can get venerable-level combat skills. Normally, there won't be anyone who owns a venerable-level combat skill even in an entire city. Han Fei swallowed. Are venerable-level combat skills so few? Han Fei suddenly realized that indestructible body is at the venerable level. Just deducing it requires 100 million points of spiritual energy. Then what will I get after I deduce it? Han Fei asked, Teacher, is there any difference in quality at each level? Wenren Yu nodded. Sure, there are low quality, mid quality, high quality, as well as ultra quality. Han Fei asked hastily, is ultra quality the highest quality? Wenren Yu was about to nod when Old Bai said, no, it's said that there is still divine quality above it, but at least we haven't seen any combat skills of that quality. Theoretically, no one in the city has seen this. Even if there are some people who have, there are only very few of them. Chapter 177 Abduct a Girl. Chapter 177 Abduct a Girl. Han Fei was very excited. Until today, he had a complete understanding of the relationship between realm, combat skills, and weapons. He also understood why his combat power was the strongest, although the others had better spiritual heritage than him. The only reason was that his combat skills were the strongest. Old Bai said, we just told you some information about the cultivation world, however, you don't have to think about it too much because many things are still out of your reach. Now let's go back to the 3 questions. I think now you know what the starting point is. Those below dangling fishers are disposable. As for the first and the second questions, you need to study them for yourselves. Luo Xiaobai asked, President, but for the second question, if fishers don't fish demonic fish, what do they fish? It's not that they don't fish demonic fish but that they can also fish other things besides demonic fish. In the infinite ocean hides countless treasures. Why do you only catch fish every day but don't hunt treasures? Old Bai looked at them speechlessly. I've put it so clearly, why can't you still understand? Old Bai went away angrily. Wenren Yu gave a strange smile and left too. Xiao Zhan sighed and looked at them. I was just like you when I was young, thinking fishing was simply fishing demonic fish. But in fact, it is not. Let me ask you, if somewhere in the sea was full of spiritual energy, what would you do? Le Renquang immediately replied, there must be something good there. I'd jump down and hunt for treasure. Xiao Zhan said crossly, shut up. Luo Xiaobai wondered, would I resort to fishing? Xiao Zhan smiled, yes. When you enter the level 3 fishery one day, do you think fishes will take the initiative to come to eat your hooks? Han Fei thought of hexagon starfish. That bastard was very sly. When he wanted Han Fei to save him, he tried to please him with all kinds of benefits. As soon as he was liberated, however, he ran away with a swish. What a damn fish. Han Fei guessed, so we can not only fish demonic fishes, but also treasures, right? Does it mean we can fish anything if we want? Xiao Zhan explained, only when you have enough strength. Although your combat skills are different, different paths lead to the same destination. For example, you practice true spirit fishing, so you must have learned the water control technique. Then you need to fish according to the direction of flowing water and the strength of spiritual energy. You can have a try. Everyone was stunned. Sha Shaochen begged, Teacher, can we go to sea? Sure. Do you still want to fight in the arena? But you should have a clear idea of your purpose. It's not for fishing for demonic fish, but for you to study your spiritual beasts and try to figure out the true meaning of fishing. Wow, yeah, we can finally go to sea. Sha Shaochen was overjoyed. Are we going now? Luo Xiaobai's eyes brightened. No hurry. Let's see if there is anything to prepare. Zhang Xuanyu added. Me, I need 1 day. Han Fei nodded. Me too. Le Renquang said quickly, then I want 1 day too. You all have things to do, but I don't. I've decided to use the day to eat hot pot. Sha Shaochen rolled her eyes at Le Renquang. It's not like we're not coming back. Le Renquang clicked his tongue. I just want to eat hot pot. Sha Shaochen was helpless. Glutton. That night, Le Renquang went to the hot pot restaurant. Sha Shaochen and Luo Xiaobai went shopping. Han Fei locked himself in the cave and no one knew what he was doing. Zhang Xuanyu disappeared with thousands of mid-quality pearls. No one knew where he was going. He Xiaoyu and Wang Baiyu were studying at the first academy, the Blue Sea Academy. At this moment, He Xiaoyu was practicing hard with Wang Baiyu as her sparring partner. She had decided to become a hunter. Clang, clang, clang. Wang Baiyu asked, He Xiaoyu, why didn't you just choose to become a soul warrior? According to your talent, you're suitable for becoming a soul warrior. No, I just want to be a hunter. He Xiaoyu's attacks were all blocked by Wang Baiyu. However, Wang Baiyu was surprised. His talent was superior to hers, but why were He Xiaoyu's attacks so powerful? It was completely beyond the power a girl should have. Just when He Xiaoyu was sweating all over, a girl hurried over. Xiaoyu, Han Fei from the 4th Academy came to you. It seems that he is having a conflict with the people in our school. He Xiaoyu's eyes lit up. Ah, she jumped up and ran off while muttering, I'll take a shower. Why, is it the first time you've seen him? He Xiaoyu snorted. It's none of your business. At the gate of the 1st Academy, a group of people surrounded Han Fei. Someone shouted angrily, Han Fei, what do you want? Are you coming to provoke us? You're not that important. I came to see someone. The man was angry. Bullshit. Last night, Zhang Xuanyu came and carried Hu Karen off with him. Now you've come too. Who are you going to abduct? Han Fei. Han Fei was dumbfounded. What? Zhang Xuanyu had been here and abducted a girl. Han Fei thought about it and patted his thigh in chagrin. Damn it, Zhang Xuanyu did come to see that girl. That bastard. Han Fei pretended to be calm. I'm not like him. I won't abduct anyone. I'm here to see He Xiaoyu. Dozens of people were angry at his remark. So he came to abduct He Xiaoyu. Wasn't He Xiaoyu a girl in our school? And she was a pretty girl. Even girls were pissed off. You're such a jerk. You're in love with Sha Shaochen. How can you still hook up with another girl? Han Fei was helpless. What? He Xiaoyu was my classmate when I was in the Heavenly Water Village. Can't I see her? The girl responded. No, now our whole school boycotts the 4th Academy. A girl echoed. Yes, we're boycotting the thugs. A boy sneered. Yes, we won't give you the opportunity to two-time He Xiaoyu. Han Fei shot back. My ass. If you don't stop slandering me, I will hit you. The boy immediately grasped the long broadsword at his waist. As I expected, you harbor evil thoughts. I knew you just came here to make trouble. Han Fei rolled his eyes. Get lost. Now I know why the 1st Academy is so weak. Look at you. All you guys know is to boycott this and boycott that. How dare you? That's enough. A group of people rushed up, but no one dared to fight him. They had watched the thug legend fighting in the arena. Han Fei was very strong and almost slapped Su Yebai to death. They were certainly not his matches, so they only dared scold him. Get out of the way. What are you doing? He Xiaoyu came out of the crowd angrily. A girl said, He Xiaoyu, the 4th Academy are our enemies. Don't be a traitor. A girl tugged at He Xiaoyu's arm. Yes, he wants to two-time you. Hu Karen was tricked out by Zhang Xuanyu last night and didn't return overnight. And today, Han Fei came to abduct you. He Xiaoyu scoffed. Come on, what are you talking about? Han Fei is my good friend and classmate. He Xiaoyu broke free from the girl's hand and ran to Han Fei. What's up? Why did you suddenly come to see me? Let's go. Come with me. Behind him, the boys and girls of the 1st Academy thumped their feet in anger. He Xiaoyu could not stand the temptation. They could only watch Han Fei abduct He Xiaoyu. A girl suggested, they came to our school to abduct people, and we can do it too. Which boy is willing to do it? The boys immediately fell into a heated discussion. Hey, I think my strength has improved recently. Let's have a fight and test our strength. Huh, you do. I feel it too. Let's have a fight. Well, I feel I'm making progress in stick technique. When I make some more progress, I will try to enter the 4th Academy. They talked and walked away, leaving the girls staring at one another stunned. When those boys walked away, they muttered, abduct the violent Sha Xiaochen and the iceberg Luo Xiaobai. Are they out of their minds? After a moment, a place where nobody was, He Xiaoyu asked shyly, Han Fei, what's up? Han Fei looked serious. He had a hunch that this trip was by no means simple, neither was finding the path of truth. He Xiaoyu, can you do me some favors? Looking at Han Fei's solemn expression, He Xiaoyu couldn't help but be a bit panicked. Is something wrong? Han Fei shook his head and did not intend to tell her. It's okay. I just came to ask you to do me some favors. He Xiaoyu. The first is to teach the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body to Wang Baiyu, Sha Wushuang, and the others. Huh, Han Fei said with a smile, it's just a common combat skill. Just teach it to them. The second is, if you go back to the village soon, please go to the plantation and help old Zhang clean it up. I may not go back for a while. He Xiaoyu asked in worry, Han Fei, is something wrong? Han Fei shook his head. No, but I'm going to attend secret training and won't have time to go back. In the end, Han Fei hesitated but still handed over a jade slip to He Xiaoyu, saying solemnly, if one day, being a great fishing master is no longer your life goal and you want to become stronger, you can take a look at this jade slip. He Xiaoyu took it in surprise and wanted to check it immediately, but the jade slip didn't respond at all. You can't open it now. When you become a great fishing master, you'll be able to open it. Okay, I'm leaving. Chapter 178 set off for the level 2 fishery. Chapter 178 set off for the level 2 fishery. At the port, Han Fei and the others boarded their respective fishing boats and waved goodbye to Xiaozan. After they flew away, Old Bai and Wenren Yu popped out of the crowd. Wenren Yu complained, why am I going? Old Bai chuckled, because you lost the finger-guessing game. Wenren Yu sighed, these daredevil kids are certainly going to those places. Old Bai stroked his beard. Go then. Those places can't kill them. The 5 fishing boats were floating in the sky. Sha Xiaochen pointed to Han Fei. Why is your fishing boat so beautiful? Why are ours so ugly? Han Fei said smugly, someone gave it to me. Humph. Han Fei, let's swap fishing boats. Han Fei rolled his eyes. Nice try. Didn't you hear what the teacher said? We're going to the level 2 fishery, but we won't stay together. We will meet after 3 days to exchange our experiences. Sha Xiaochen held the map with one hand. But why are we going to the level 2 fishery? Experience the true meaning of fishing. Luo Little White was eager for the adventure. When we arrive, let's study our spiritual beasts first. We really haven't studied them in depth. Ren looked at Han Fei with a fawning smile. Han Fei, can you give me some barbecue from your sea-swallowing seashell? Eat, eat, all you know is how to eat. Renquang responded with a grin, otherwise, how lonely a person will be on the sea. Everyone was chatting happily except for Zhang Xuanyu, who was absent-minded and a little excited. Han Fei's eyes narrowed. Zhang Xuanyu, confess, where were you last night? Zhang Xuanyu said calmly, I just did what a man had to do. Sha Xiaochen wondered, what is that? Han Fei scoffed. Forget it. Sha Xiaochen, you've gotta study your giant arowana carefully. It often launches indiscriminate attacks. Sha Xiaochen sighed. I can't control it. It doesn't listen to me. Everyone. Luo Little White frowned. Then figure out why it doesn't listen to you. The Blue Sea town was a bit far from the level 2 fishery. Unlike the level 3 fishery where there was a teleportation channel, they could only fly to the second-class fishery. After about 4 hours, they arrived at the level 2 fishery. The level 2 fishery was much larger than the level 1 fishery. It was circular and encircled both ordinary fisheries and the level 1 fishery. It was so vast that no one could be seen on the sea. Great fishing masters could be seen in the Blue Sea arena every day, but when you walked on the streets of the Blue Sea town, it was not easy to see a great fishing master. The level 2 fishery was so much more vast, so the probability for great fishing masters to encounter each other was not high. The fishing boat had just landed on the water and Luo Little White pointed at the map and said, "Everyone should be clear of where we are now, right? 3 days later, let's meet here. Take care." Sha Xiaochen cheerfully said, "I'm leaving." Le Renquang muttered, "It's so troublesome to run around. Anyway, our jobs are just researching our spiritual beasts. I'll just stay here, waiting for you to return 3 days later." Han Fei, my barbecue. Han Fei helplessly took out a handful of barbecue and handed it over. Eat, eat, don't sleep for 3 days at sea. Luo Little White stated, "I'm heading north." Zhang Xuanyu asked, "Why not go into the water? Ocean, treasure, good things are all underwater." Han Fei immediately looked at Zhang Xuanyu. When did he become so smart? I can't agree more. Cough, Yu, we should have done some research at least 3 days ago before going to the sea. Otherwise, we'll be in danger. Zhang Xuanyu nodded. You're right. Then when are we going into the sea? Han Fei said casually, in a few days. Luo Little White frowned. Complete the task the teachers assigned us first. We shall exchange our experiences 3 days later. Han Fei shrugged. Okay, then I'm going south. In the blink of an eye, the crowd scattered and only Le Renquang stayed in place. After going about 50 miles, Han Fei stopped. With a flash between his brows, Little Black and Little White ran out. Level 17. When did you upgrade? Why didn't I know? While Han Fei was stunned, the 2 little fish plunged into the water. Come back. Han Fei snorted. They were just away from water for 2 or 3 months. Why are they so excited? Little White flew back to Han Fei obediently. But Little Black just ignored his words. Just when Han Fei was about to take them back, the waves surged and Little Black came back holding a big fish nearly 2 meters long in his mouth. Less than name greater than strip fish. Less than introduction greater than a common fish in level 2 fisheries. Its dorsal fin is like a sword and has extremely fast speed and a great leaping ability. Less than level greater than level 24. Less than quality greater than regular. Less than contained spiritual energy greater than 187 points. Less than effect greater than it can increase one's health if it's eaten over a long period of time. Less than collectible greater than common fin sword. Less than absorbable greater than. Han Fei looked at Little Black helplessly. Did I ask you to catch fish? As soon as you entered the sea, you caught a fish. You were only level -17. Little Black put the strip fish in front of Han Fei as if waiting for his praise. Han Fei looked at the fish whose back was almost bitten through and kicked it casually onto the deck. Han Fei wasn't in a hurry. He had enough time anyway. Little Black, show me your abilities except for invisibility and biting. Little Black circled around Han Fei, blinked and suddenly opened his mouth wide, which startled Han Fei, because his cherry-sized little mouth suddenly became bigger than his palm. Han Fei widened his eyes. Damn, what the teacher said was true. This little thing still had many secrets. How did he open his mouth this big? Fortunately, Wenren Yu didn't see this scene. Otherwise, she would be scared to death. Although spiritual beasts could engage with their masters' minds, in many cases, they didn't know their own abilities. They just used their abilities by instinct. Thus, their masters should have a clear idea of their abilities. But Han Fei directly asked his spiritual beast to show him their new abilities. Han Fei swallowed. What else? Besides the big mouth, do you have any other ability? Little Black circled twice in confusion and suddenly opened his mouth again. This time, His mouth was as big as a washbasin. Han Fei was startled again and immediately scolded angrily, "Do you have any other advantage besides having a big mouth? For example, can you dig for treasures, find treasures, or catch exotic demonic fishes?" Little Black got more puzzled. He felt that maybe his mouth was not big enough, so the next moment, his body suddenly became at least 3 times larger and his mouth became so big that it could swallow a whole person. Shoot! Han Fei sat on the deck in shock. You should be called Big Black instead of Little Black. But he was also surprised. Can Little Black get bigger? Han Fei asked. Little Black, how big can you become? This time, Little Black became about 5 times that of his original size. But even so, he was still less than 2 meters long. After trying again for a while, Han Fei found that this guy had no ability except to get bigger or smaller. However, he was really a big eater. The strip fish on the deck was swallowed by it wholly, but his body didn't change at all. Han Fei looked at Little White with a smile. Little White, what skills do you have? Show me. Little White blinked and with a boing, he fed Han Fei a mouthful of pure spiritual energy. Han Fei quickly swallowed it and said, Little White, what else are you capable of? However, Little White thought that Han Fei wanted to see him grow larger, so he also became larger just as Little Black, except that Little White refused to open his mouth that big. Han Fei was helpless. Change back, change back. You look nicer when you're smaller. Han Fei took out a piece of low-quality spiritual stone and said with a gentle smile, Little White, I mean, besides becoming bigger or smaller, what other abilities do you have? For example, looking for treasure, digging for treasure, something like that. Little White stared at the spiritual stone, but Little Black suddenly came up, swallowed it, and chewed it happily. Han Fei said angrily, What are you doing? My low-quality spiritual stone. You are such a glutton. You eat even more than Le Renquang. But just after Little Black ate the spiritual stone, Little White spat out a string of pure spiritual energy, which seemed to be purer than those in the spiritual stone. Han Fei raised his eyebrows. He discovered this ability of Little White long ago, but he thought Little White wouldn't spit out spiritual energy if Little Black was full. Now it turned out that he could keep spitting out spiritual energy. However, a moment later, when Little White no longer spat out spiritual energy, Han Fei discovered that a piece of low-quality spiritual stone was supposed to contain nearly 10,000 points of spiritual energy, but when Little White spat it out, only 6,000 points remained. But Han Fei couldn't absorb these 6,000 points of spiritual energy. His upper limit for spiritual energy was 2,199 points, so the rest was wasted. The only thing he was happy at was that the spiritual energy that Little White spat out nourished his body better than the effect of his own cultivation. Anything else? Chapter 179 Soul Ocean. Chapter 179 Soul Ocean. Han Fei knew that Little White had another ability, which was looking for spiritual energy. It had shown this ability when they were in that seabed mine, where Little White took him to find the spiritual stone. Little White jumped into the water, and Little Black followed him. Then, Little White took Han Fei to swim in one direction. Is Little White leading me to a treasure or spiritual energy? Han Fei wondered. After about half an hour, Little White stopped, spinning around on the spot. Han Fei immediately took out his fishing rod. Although Old Bai didn't allow them to bring fishing bait this time, after injecting spiritual energy into the fishing rod, Han Fei could feel a small area under the water through the fishing rod. This was an exclusive ability of void fishing art. The fishing rod went nearly 200 meters deep. Suddenly, Han Fei saw a golden squid fly past with a swish that disappeared in the blink of an eye. Shoot! Han Fei didn't even know what kind of a squid it was, but judging from the speed at which it escaped and its reaction at that instant, it was definitely not an ordinary squid. Does Little White have the ability to find rare or even exotic creatures? Han Fei stared at Little White with shining eyes. If Little White had this ability, he would be able to catch countless exotic creatures, then fuse them, and turn them into mysterious, legendary creatures, or even stronger creatures. Han Fei said eagerly, Little White, can you still find it? Han Fei's eyes were shining. Wow, I'm gonna make a fortune. A scene of him leading a large army of legendary creatures popped up in his mind. If it came to reality, he would literally dominate the ocean. When encountering enemies, he just needed to release hundreds of legendary creatures. Who would be able to resist this? Little White hesitated for a long time and did not move. Han Fei sensed that Little White couldn't find the squid now. Han Fei was frustrated. There was a creature that was at least an exotic kind in front of me, but I didn't get the chance to do anything. I really regret that it ran away. Unable to find the squid, Han Fei just practiced the water vein technique for a while before putting away the fishing rod. If the first and second levels of the void fishing taught people how to fish, then the third level of the water vein technique was to teach people how to turn the fishing hook and fishing line into the pulsation of water. In this case, the fishing hook could quietly approach fish and then directly capture them. But Han Fei tried it a few times. It seemed that the effect was not very good. Perhaps he hadn't mastered how to use it yet and would only succeed once every 10 attempts. Han Fei was not in the mood to practice it. He repeatedly asked Little White whether he could find the squid again, but the damn squid seemed to have disappeared and couldn't be found again. Han Fei lay on the deck, facing up to the sky. Doesn't Little White have any other abilities? As he thought this, his mind turned a bit chaotic. He should have gone to dig up seabed treasure with Zhang Xuanyu. Gradually, a wave of drowsiness came over him and he fell asleep on the deck. Suddenly, Han Fei shivered and suddenly opened his eyes. As soon as he opened his eyes, he was startled. The world in front of his eyes was grotesque and gaudy. He saw a lot of strange planktons and many super large fish swimming past him. What happened? Han Fei wanted to shout, only to spit out a string of bubbles. Han Fei wanted to turn his head, but he couldn't feel his legs. And a tail. I even have a tail. Shit. Little White. Han Fei saw Little White circle around him. But Little White's size became strangely large, and he didn't look beautiful anymore. His head had become so big. Gosh, have I become Little Black? Han Fei was stunned. This was a very special experience. He had turned into a fish, swimming with his fins and tail, and the vision of his eyes changed, which was just like when he took a picture from the bottom up or from the top down. Where am I? Han Fei wagged his tail to swim and occasionally opened his mouth to take a sip of seawater. Then, he opened his gills and slightly opened his scales to absorb oxygen from the water and then closed his mouth. Han Fei was stunned and at a loss of what to do. I became Little Black. Then what happened to me? Am I dreaming? But why would I have such a dream? Han Fei was dumbfounded when a fish about his size swam past him. Less than name greater than bony spur fish primitive spiritual beast. Less than introduction greater than covered with bone spurs, with extremely strong attack power, and often attacks the enemy by surprise. Less than level greater than level 13. Less than quality greater than regular. Less than contained soul energy greater than 152 points. He felt as if his body was out of control as he rushed up to bite and tear it apart. Not until he bit the innocent fish into pieces did Han Fei regain control of his body. Damn, can anyone explain to me what happened? What the hell is this? And what is a primitive spiritual beast? Why do I feel stronger? Is it because I ate that fish? There seemed to be no concept of time here. Han Fei felt that he had been swimming for a long time and had eaten several fishes. There were also some that he wanted to eat but they escaped. Han Fei saw many unknown fish, shrimp, and crabs, and also familiar ones, such as spirit-chasing shrimp, ice flame turtle, and lightning crabs. These were all FC King primitive spiritual beasts. Han Fei suddenly came up with an extremely shocking idea. This is not the level 2 fishery here but the sea where Little Black and Little White came from. Han Fei saw this sea in the fishing trial when there was a film between him and the sea, and there were countless kinds of fish that seemed to try to break through the film but in the end, only Little Black and Little White came through. Yes, that's the sea. This must be the Soul Ocean. Having figured this out, Han Fei was stunned. What happened? Why was he here? And why did he become Little Black? If this was the Soul Ocean, wouldn't it mean that all the fishes in front of him were all spiritual beasts? Han Fei swore that he had never seen so many spiritual beasts before. Han Fei was a bit anxious. If he became Little Black, then where was he? Or was Little Black possessed by his soul? At this time, Han Fei saw a huge monster swimming past. He took a close look. What the heck is that? A golden dragon. An arowana. What the fuck? What the hell is this place? Han Fei trembled in fright. He just saw a giant arowana swim past. Less than name greater than gold arowana, primitive spiritual beast. Less than introduction greater than it has a trace of golden dragon bloodline. After awakening, its quality will change and it will possess extremely strong attack power. Less than level greater than level 29. Less than quality greater than exotic. Less than contained soul energy greater than 360 points. This time, Little Black didn't rush to bite it because he might get bitten instead. Han Fei suddenly came up with an idea. Could Little Black be eaten by other spiritual beasts in this damn place? After observing for a while, Han Fei was relieved. It turned out that under normal circumstances, these spiritual beasts would not attack each other. But that was not for sure. Han Fei saw a mantis shrimp knocking a spiritual beast to death and dragging it back into its hole as its food. At this moment, countless thoughts flashed through his mind. If the spiritual beasts were in such an environment, would they die at any time? But in the real world, he had never heard of anyone's spiritual beast suddenly dying. No, there must be a problem. Han Fei chose a swordfish and came up to bite it. The swordfish felt the pain and immediately escaped, but it didn't seem to have any intention to fight Little Black. Then Han Fei ran to a spirit-swallowing fish and swirled around in front of its eyes, but that fish didn't seem to see him at all. Han Fei immediately realized, shit, I forgot Little Black had the ability of invisibility. Can I possess Little White's body? With this thought, Han Fei suddenly felt dizzy, and then he saw Little Black in front of him. Did I become Little White? Haha, interesting, so I can switch between these two little guys. Han Fei didn't panic like before. There must be a reason for him to be here. After eating a few fish, Han Fei felt very energetic. He controlled Little White's body and swam to the spirit-swallowing fish. And then, something unexpected happened. This spirit-swallowing fish still couldn't see him. It was understandable that it couldn't see Little Black, because Little Black was invisible. But why couldn't it see Little White either? Chapter 188 Someone's Spiritual Beast. Chapter 188 Someone's Spiritual Beast. Han Fei suddenly got excited and a bold idea struck him. The spiritual beasts that had been summoned were invisible in the Soul Ocean and the primitive spiritual beasts in the Soul Ocean couldn't see them at all. In order to confirm this idea, Han Fei ran up to the swordfish and nothing happened. He gathered courage again and ran around in front of the crayfish and nothing happened either. In the end, he chased a gold arowana for a long while and it gave no reaction at all. However, Han Fei's tail accidentally touched its eyes and it waved its head and hit him away. Haha, great, since other primitive spiritual beasts can't see me, then maybe I can eat them. Han Fei immediately returned to Little Black's body. This time, he began to bite any fish passing by. At first, those primitive spiritual beasts that were gnawed at just fled in a hurry. In the end, the sudden death of many spiritual beasts finally attracted the attention of other primitive spiritual beasts in this water. Immediately, all the primitive spiritual beasts in this area began to panic. But Han Fei didn't feel it. He just felt that his brain was suddenly flushed by cold water, and then he felt a great increase in strength, mainly his bite force. Did I upgrade? Han Fei was utterly excited. In the past, he had to feed Little Black every day to help him upgrade, but he only upgraded by one level after a few months. But now, in the Soul Ocean, he had upgraded by one level just after eating a few primitive spiritual beasts. Then what if he continued to eat? When Han Fei ate about 30 more primitive spiritual beasts until he upgraded again. At this time, this area was in an uproar. All primitive spiritual beasts were running in a panic. But it didn't affect Han Fei at all. Where can you go? I'm invisible to you but you're visible to me. How can you escape me? This time, Han Fei began to bite the exotic and even rare spiritual beasts. Pearl fish, spirit-chasing shrimp, sapphire crab, and lightning squid. Although it took a little longer to catch these rare spiritual beasts, he upgraded again after only eating 12. Little Black and Little White had directly reached the 20th level. And then, he continued. He didn't know how long it took. When Little Black and Little White reached the 22nd level, Han Fei looked around, only to find there weren't any fish. All fish had escaped. Han Fei wondered, There are too few primitive spiritual beasts in the Soul Ocean. Do I need to change spots? After swimming for a long time, Han Fei suddenly saw a flash in front of his eyes and a squid with hook-like tentacles all over its body appeared in front of him. Less than name greater than Iron Hook Squid, Sun Yang's spiritual beast. Less than introduction greater than its tentacles are like hooks, and the hooks are poisonous. If caught by it, it will be difficult to escape. Less than level greater than level 27. Less than quality greater than rare. Less than contained soul energy greater than 362 points. Someone's spiritual beast. Han Fei was hesitating. Shall I eat someone's spiritual beast? Can I eat it? Why can I see it? Does it mean that the spiritual beasts that were summoned here could see each other in the Soul Ocean? Han Fei thought for a while. Perhaps I can try taking a bite of it. The Iron Hook Squid obviously saw Little White, and suddenly hit at him with its hook. Han Fei was surprised. What? I am still thinking about whether to eat you or not, but you've taken the initiative to attack me. Little White dodged quickly, but Han Fei was angry. I didn't plan to eat you but you started it. So Han Fei rushed up and bit off a squid tentacle. While he was going to attack again, the spiritual beast swooshed away and escaped quickly. Han Fei kept chasing him, but unfortunately, because the guy could see Little White, it ran extremely fast. After a while, Han Fei gave up. The summoned spiritual beast already had consciousness, otherwise, it wouldn't have escaped so quickly. After swimming for a while, when a lot of primitive spiritual beasts appeared around him again, he began to devour them like crazy again. Han Fei felt that he might upgrade at any time. Suddenly, he felt dizzy, and when he woke up again, he found that he was sleeping on the deck. Did I come out of the Soul Ocean? Why? At this moment, Han Fei suddenly bounced off the deck and threw out the double knives in his hand instantly. Who is it? Han Fei dodged and an arrow was nailed to where he had just slept. Who warned you? A few dozen meters away, a fishing boat was approaching. On the bow of the ship, one person held a longbow and shot 3 arrows again, intending to kill Han Fei. Clang, clang, clang. The 3 arrows were easily blocked by Han Fei. Han Fei twisted his wrist slightly. An advanced great fishing master. The man looked surprised. This guy wasn't killed by my sneak attack. Run. Those who could come to the level 2 fishery were at least great fishing masters. The first idea the man came up with was to run away when his sneak attack failed. Now you want to escape. Do you think I'm dead? Han Fei walked through the air, waving his fishing rod, and bound this man with the fishing line in the blink of an eye. Then the double knives in his hand swished out through the air, drawing a strange arc in the air. Clang! The man raised his bow to block, but the next moment, the longbow that accompanied him for many years was cut in two directly. A magic weapon, the man exclaimed, pulling out his dagger, and trying to cut off the fishing line binding him. However, the fishing line quickly loosened and was taken back by Han Fei. The 2 knives flew back into his hand and Han Fei had stepped onto the man's ship. Little brother, I'm sorry. Please spare my life. I will repay you. Han Fei grinned. How? At the moment when Han Fei smiled, he moved again, and Han Fei saw a squid instantly fused with him. Han Fei was surprised. Iron Hook Squid. Han Fei was sure that this was just that Iron Hook Squid he saw just now. Smack! In mid-air, the phantom of a big seal fell down. The water-stirring seal appeared extremely quickly, shattering the cabin and smashing the man into the water. Han Fei put away the water-stirring seal. He seemed to hit him too hard. Was this man killed? Han Fei stood on the boat and watched for a while. After several minutes, a head suddenly popped out of the sea, his face covered with blood. Help! Help me! Han Fei didn't move. Standing on the bow of the ship, he asked, Are you called Sun Yang? Yes, help. At the next moment, Sun Yang seemed to be dragged down by something in the water and he never came up again. I hate faithless people like you the most. Han Fei was not surprised. After Su Yebai was hit by the water-stirring seal, he fainted. It was not easy for Sun Yang to persist underwater for too long. However, his name was Sun Yang. It was no coincidence that he met him here. He had just met his Iron Hook Squid in the Soul Ocean. Han Fei felt that he had discovered a big secret, an extremely horrible secret. When a person was close to him, then the distance between their spiritual beasts in the soul ocean was also very close. But the point was, why could he enter the world where the spiritual beasts were? Since he could enter it, could others also enter it? If everyone could, wasn't it unsafe for his spiritual beast in the soul ocean? Regarding this issue, he decided to wait and try it out when the 5 of them met again 3 days later. Then Han Fei tried to enter the soul ocean again but failed. Whether he was lying down, asleep, or in a daze, he couldn't get in. Little Black and Little White didn't understand his meaning at all, or they might not even know that they had just been possessed. But Han Fei found that Little Black and Little White had already reached level 22. How long did it take? It was only less than half an hour. And before they could only upgrade by 1 level in a few months. Han Fei was shocked. In half an hour, they upgraded from level 17 to level 22 by eating. How shocking was this upgrade speed?